Big problem.
I really needed
A good videographer.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
If you were looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you. I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
A good videographer.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
If you were looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay.
Aboy, Maruneng we get nanu. Aboy, Maruneng we get nanu.
Come ni gungana, I may want him a barako no geo. Come ni she wemo, may you want him a barako no geo. Come ni to manimo, may you want him a barako no jimo.
Away, moving away, preaching we get nanu. Aboy, mofo kong away, moving away, preaching we get nanu. Akong ata we do we, mobi awemba, mobi be away kang ti shangi manu gunga bobo. Kong ata we do we, mobi awemba, mobi be away kang ti shangi manu. Aboy, Maruneng we get nanu. Aboy, Maruneng we get nanu.
Come ni gungana, I may want him a barako no geo. Come ni she wemo, may you want him a barako no geo. Come ni to manimo, may you want him.
Recognize the presence of my Vice President, Dr. Ken Harrison Abongwa, the Honorable Elvis Kometa, Chairman of the Restoration Council, and members of government, and my presidential entourage here present today. I want to especially acknowledge the following comrades who are working tirelessly with us in this interim government, whether in the central administration or at different tiers of government. The Secretary of State for Economy, Investment and Natural Resources, Dr. Louis Mbua. The Deputy Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mula Edwin Monono. The Chairperson of the Intergovernmental Oversight Committee and Director of Planning and Internal Controls, Iya Eli Jambelele. The General Manager of Ambazonia Television, Iya Emma Endeli. The Chairman, Boya Local Government, Mula Jimmy Jakai. The Chairman of Victoria Local Government, Mula Nicodemus. The Chairman of Muyuka Local Government, Mula Miende. The Chairman of Tiko Local Government, Member of IOC and representative of HSS in Fako, Mola Reverend Lionga Charles, all members of the Restoration Council from Fako, thank you for coming. Dear Ambazonians, today we are in the core of our nation, the Federal Capital Territory of Ambazonia, Fako County, to continue with our most important civic tradition we all pledge to undertake as our revolutionary devoir to our liberation struggle. Once more, we are here to draft. Sons and daughters of Fako, I greet every one of you. The draft for Fako this year is special. Special because of the strategic significance of our federal capital, which unfortunately still serves as the seat of the colonial occupation forces in our nation. And also because of the recent sad events in and around Buea, from Mautu to Moliko, perpetrated by the bloody or bloodthirsty barbarians in uniform from Yaoundé. The gruesome murder of baby Caro Enondiale in Buea just over a week ago, as she innocently sat in a car escorted to school by her mother, brought shockwaves to our people. Baby Caro is not just another innocent little baby executed in cold blood for no reason by an element of Paul Biya's extermination squad that has clearly become the #1 mascot of the ongoing silent genocide on our people perpetrated by French Camerois. As I said in my speech the day after her brutal murder, if this monstrous act was not caught on camera, the Republic would have picked up on its denial strategy as they did in the Ngabu, Kumba, Mautu, Bali massacres, and in the murder of the journalist Wazizi or the American missionary. Today, we continue to mourn all innocent babies, including baby Caro, baby Mata, baby Abigail, and the thousands of our children, women, and men amongst the victims of French Cameroons' genocidal extermination crusade. A moment of silence in honor of these martyrs of our liberation struggle. Their blood has paved our revolutionary path to Boya, and we shall tread on it to triumph. A moment, please.
Pretty girl with a cute face. Baby, I'm in love, I know the look face. Mofo kong away, ko mo be na my way. Momo bar away for noom shit. Mo be ning away to free wanga bump for pretty mama. Tell me what you want, mo be na ane. I for bong a chin do, baby far away. But I knew away in your mommy way. Momo pinga chamo bung away na yito. I say wawa, come closer. For your sake, I feel empty my bossa. No be lie, I want to be your massa. Anytime you fall, I think will be your racer.
I call it the wheel.
I don't think so. What does it do?
It rolls.
Yeah. So
it is called firepower. It is called Njangsang Mani, Le Français, Fontem Asongani, and rubber guns. Thanks to the tenacity of our valiant Ambazonia restoration forces roaring from the BLM to Manyu and Goketunja.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Big problem.
I really needed
A good videographer.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you. I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
A good videographer.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you. I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really
You're watching the People's Television, ABC.
Hello, good evening, fellow Ambazonians. Welcome and thanks for joining this broadcast. It is exactly 12 minutes after 8 p.m. Amba time in Boya, the capital city, in Moyoka, in Abakwa town. To all my friends watching from Bamenda and everywhere in the nations, in the national territory of Ambazonia, I want to greet you. To our people abroad who are connecting via our website, thank you for connecting and subscribing as a club member. I wish to announce that now you can follow ABC Amba TV 24/7 on our website, abcambatv.com. If you're a club member, you can enjoy from any part of the world. It is free for ground zero and sub-Saharan Africa, but it is not totally free for the rest of the world. Just a token, $10. If all you want is just to watch ABC Amba TV, it will take you $10 monthly as a club member. To $10 authenticate you as a club member. There is also a possibility on that website for you to give a one-time donation. For instance, if you do not want to belong to the club, but you are interested in what we do, you can just go there. It is an interesting website. It is still under construction and development, but it's already very interesting. I'm just thinking when the marketplace will go full functional, how sweet it will look like. If I enjoy, sometimes when I get there, I spend minutes over minutes and even hours because there is so much you can get there. Starting the month of March, first day of March, you're going to be having breaking news, latest war news, and latest Amba news from that website. We're putting everything together to kick off strong. I just came on live now to tell you that we will be having a long night. So I'm asking you, for those watching via our social media platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, to invite, to share, to tell people we're live, and we are live to get deep into some real issues tonight. That being said, stay tuned, enjoy. We will be right back.
Don't you hate it when that happens to you? When it does, you need this and this and this. When it happens to me, I always know where to go. When you've got professionals on your side, your problems don't stand a chance. What are you waiting for? Contact them today and let them take care of your problems.
Unguwa mina mikomungele amengama. Unguwa miwandinga malingo mobamende. Unguwa miwandinga malingo amengama. Ndutu omema joli joli na tene unyana riwo songo mai. Unguwa miwandinga malingo amengama. Ungo ami wandinga malingo momenemo. Ungo ami na miko mungele amengama. Dutu ome
Manengu Batundian, from Mezam to Momo, from Bui to Dongamanto, from Menchum to Boyo, and from Meme to Fako, even the docile citizens of French Comoros have started mounting some pressure on their bloodthirsty ghost leader to accept the fact that they can't stop us through war, talk less of winning us. Let us not relent on the trajectory that brought us thus far, a sustained growth in firepower. Let us rather escalate with utmost urgency the human and material cost of this war on our enemy's credit card, rendering their colonial apparatus completely impotent in exercising territorial control in any part of Ambazonia, be it rural or urban. Let us continue to send more of their makeshift, brainwashed, ill-trained, thuggish soldiers in body bags or stretchers on a daily basis. Let us, more than ever before, play our part in supporting our great field marshals, generals, commanders, and valiant foot soldiers as they relentlessly engage in exploits of extreme patriotism, sacrificing their lives to protect ours and free homeland. This is our moral obligation for all Ambazonians still alive, that we continue to defend our vulnerable people against the evil monsters from the Republic of Comoros. Great sons and daughters of Fako, You are a special people from a great county. Destiny put you and me in Fako, our federal capital territory. Destiny gave us that privilege to be the host for all Ambazonians. And that comes with huge responsibilities. Fako is the land of the graves of our great fathers and founders of our nation. The great land of the fearless general and warrior king, Kuvali Kenya, and the birthplace of our visionary first head of state, the Right Honorable EML Endeli. Fako is truly the land that has seen all and swallowed all. From the height of Mount Fako, you have seen everything. And from the sea, you have swallowed many things. The Germans and the British treated you as slaves. From the British to Ahijo, you were also taken as slaves by the Fulani Mafia. And from Ahijo to Paul Biya, you became slaves to Bulu Beti masters. The last colonial masters since 1982 have done the worst in Fako. They took away everything you had, everything you are, and reduced you to beggars of political favors. They obliged us to hate ourselves, that our problem in Fako is not the Bulu Beti slave masters treating us like trash, that your fellow Ambazonian slaves from other counties are responsible for your demise. And some fools among us have believed them. Let me ask my Fako kindred, can you tell me who gave your land to CDC without royalties? Who transferred the head office of CDC to Yaoundé? Who destroyed the Tiko Wharf? Who killed our Tiko Airport and Bisongabang Airport? Who refused to give you a seaport in Victoria for 60 years? Who depleted your timber through Coast Timber? Who wrecked Marketing Board and Cameroon Bank? Who deleted PWD? And who ditched PowerCam in UK? And who is now transferring the Lone University of Boya to Akonoling? Is it your fellow slave brothers and sisters from other counties? Some are shamelessly helping the Bulu Beti slave masters to perpetuate their asphyxiation on Fako instead of joining brothers and sisters to fight for a free Ambazonia. If that is not the height of induced foolishness, what is it? Have we not seen enough to know who our true enemies are? Yes, for there are perceived enemies and true enemies. During the colonial wars with the German, Fako lost many. Post-1961, under the vampire regime of Ahijo, many of our patriarchs were slaughtered. And during those years of insult, torture, and repression, many of our heroes were slaughtered in cold blood. The generational exploitation of Fako continues.
Nandwendi mozeya vamale kundi muzo Zave tomoziyo bazave tomendiyo Navendi mozeya vamale kundi muzo Onoveya one wende.
This delay in drafting Fako and some other counties was necessary to allow our premier oversight body of the interim government's executive arm, the Intergovernmental Oversight Committee, IOC, to assess and authorize resource mobilization to proceed with drafting these counties. But the poor judgment of some of our compatriots in Fako towards common sense decisions we arrived at to stem out the rise of xenophobic tendencies in Fako, to quell the divisive voices in Fako, and bring our fighting forces in FACO together, blinded them from our good intentions to save Ambazonia. The callous outbursts and unpatriotic excesses of certain elements who purport to speak for FACO, some of whom could be well-meaning compatriots, and a few with questionable credentials in the struggle. They attempted to hold FACO hostage in the face of Ambazonia, while the enemy continues to bleed our population. But be it known that no Ambazonian is more Ambazonian than another Ambazonian. No one owns the Federal Capital Territory of Ambazonia more than other Ambazonians.
Nongele Boalotin, Nongele Francis Pepe, Nongele Kotobas, Manuti Bango na Mamangea, Nongele Fela, Nongele Wangavana Wamowamba, Aye, Ngoeli La Jole, Wenge Koma Paradis.
That would be like shooting ourselves on the foot and wondering why we cannot run. Make no mistakes, there will be protections for natural indigents in our federal constitution. But we are not yet there now. What we have now is a liberation war to be fought by those who are willing, able, and available to fight the good fight. Once more, let me make this clear to all Ambazonians. Your interim government does not take decisions based on imagined personal vendettas. Of course, unless against our natural enemies, French Camerois. The interests of the state and of our struggle, the overwhelming expectation of the entire people of Ambazonia, dead and alive, and our common goal to smoke the enemy out of our land guide our every move. We are learning as we go, learning from our mistakes and from the mistakes of others. We put in place structures that can spot irregularities and inefficiencies in management and accountability and move to rectify them before they get out of proportion. The changes are therefore constant. We have all agreed to laws that should guide how our grassroots structures are set up in all our local government accounts.
Of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Owaye wanga moto imbana veli mutakela moto unange yonde kimbana nange yoka.
Good evening and welcome back. I'm sure you must have seen the letter coming in from Dr. Tita early this morning to the peoples of Amazonia. So much to say about it, so much to reveal about the whole quagmire. But before we even get into that, I would like us to examine some excerpts of what Mr. Arnold said yesterday. I have not done this before. Usually people bring images to me and I get to make side comments. But today, I think our people have been so misinformed by this platform that purportedly was meant to prosecute the war. We're going to follow through with a 10 minutes video. In stage after stage, I'm going to stop at certain places and we ask some questions. Then we have some discussion. And then we verify how truthful Mr. Arnold can be. If that video is ready, without any waste of time, because on top of the hour, the SOS for communications and ID will be live. So let's get into that really quickly and start the talk. You see,
Boya. The Restoration Council rejected it as it was unconstitutional. After rejecting that appeal, Dr. Samuel Ekomesako refused to run for election in spite of the fact that his tenure of office was over. He insisted he was meant to stand or to stay in power till we get to Boya. After resisting it, he went ahead to dissolve the Restoration Council. But before dissolving the Restoration Council, he had split the interim government, creating a faction. In fact, he created a faction of everything. The APP meeting, he created a faction of it. The county chairs, he's created a faction of it. The LGA chairs, he created a faction of it.
Now, you've heard those few seconds of Mr. Arnold. Like I said, for the first time, I want us to examine closely what this man is actually talking about. He starts by telling the peoples of Ambazonia that the president wants to be in power for life. The president wants to be in power for life. This is supposed to be a journalist. And he says his terms of office has finished. There are two things I want you to get in this. Number one is the fact that his intention from onset, when he started his complaints, his brouhaha, was never ever because there was a problem that needed solution. Get this straight. It was because this man, for the past 2 years, has been looking in the office of the president. But this is where he failed. He did not even take a closer look to the Constitution, to the binding document. He was carried away by a falsehood declaration that was made by Cometa after the inauguration of the president in 2019. And that is what emanated into his so-called memo. He has, within the government, been trying to create reasons to prove to the world that the government was not functioning right. So he came up with a memo to prove that. So today, he is very, Ambazonians, I tell you all the time, avoid to sell cheap. Don't sell cheap. Don't present yourself vulnerable. Tell Mr. Arnold to show you in the Constitution where it says that there were supposed to be elections. So he's now telling us that he was the engineer. That's what he's saying. He was the engineer behind the committee, or he was among the engineers, because it is now an open secret that committee has never loved President Sako. But it is not about who you love or hate. It's about setting precedents. It's about building a country of law. A country that we can as well respect our own constitutions. Our interim constitution. Now he goes further, those few seconds there, to tell you that the president divided the government. Now when this guy saw that the elections will not work legally, even after being aggressive, because before the speech of the president December 31st, they were aggressive. There was a pressure. We had intelligence of what was happening within a governing segment of hand-picked elements of Cometa within the Restoration Council. There was pressure on Cometa, and so he had to call the president and aggressively told him, you must participate in an election. The president said, listen, I will not deny any election that is legal. It is illegal. If you want to introduce election, do the first things first. If we think that we require election at this time, then let's amend our constitution. So when he's telling you that the government was divided, what he's trying to tell you, again, I wonder what kind of communication secretary he has been all this while. He's trying to tell you that Abongwa had authority over APP more than the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Perhaps that could be possible, but ask them to show you in our constitution, where is it found that the vice president has no mandate according to the interim constitution of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. The vice president comes to fulfill the president's mandate and works on assignment. So how come the president calls an APP and rebels? Permit me, this is not an insult, it's a description of who they are and their actions. Recalcitrants sit in the ghetto in the midst of mixed multitude and now come on their television to tell Ambazonians that the president is dividing the government. Who is dividing the government? Let me get into this. Mr. Arnold has the record of attempting divide. I would say even way more than former President Sisiko Julius Ayub Tabe. Mr. Arnold has divided the communications department. Mr. Arnold has divided everything. So he says the president is dividing the government. I want you to understand what he means by dividing the government. He is saying that Abongwa has a right to call an APP, even when the president says stop. Now, when you abuse confidence, the Frenchman called abuse de confiance, it is a crime. You're entrusted responsibility, and then you take it for granted. And that's why Abongwa sits in his room, because he was entrusted and given confidence to take responsibility, and tells the president, I have my, when the president gives a point, an opinion, he resists. Now I'll tell you what Mr. Arnold is saying when he says that the president created another county. What he's saying there is that Abongwa, after the Momo people choose their leader, Abongwa will not. And he's set in Ghana. I don't know how he found himself as a Secretary of State. But that is a story for another day. They will not admit the rightful leader of Momo, even after Jackson had resigned. And the democratically elected leader of Momo for months was never admitted in the APP forum under the government of the president. That was recalcitrant. And just to tell you how tolerant the president was, and tolerated it for several months. Several months. And so they were getting thick in their skull. They thought maybe they had an illusion that maybe they have some authority because you have a president or a leader who is humble and tolerant. I guess so. I guess because for peace sake, when Anu unilaterally dismisses Klista and takes decisions without consulting anyone, comes on stage, comes on TV to talk his policy, not government policy, and the president tolerates him, he now felt that he was indispensable. That without him, Ambazonia will, that is what was in his mind. We've been in a meeting that this man tells us, you know how important I am in this trouble. And I talk and you people don't listen. How dare you? What are you? In which Ambazonia? This generation? This is a man that was given the privilege to lead a department of people that were even more educated than him, but had no respect for anyone. No respect at all for anyone. Listens to nobody. And all of a sudden, he translates the same character publicly and wants to impose to the entire nation. Abuses the nation for granting him a platform. He said he was a journalist. I don't know, he should be more than 50 years. And therefore, it implies that he has practiced as a journalist for a long time. But who knew him before 2016? Before he was appointed into the office of the communication secretary, who knew him? The platform was given to him. Ambazonians gave him a platform for free. Ambazonians gave him a stage, gave him a following. And then all of a sudden, he wants to create a hegemony. And he gets so thick in his core. He feels that he can do and undo. Please, let's continue the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, even cabinet, he created a faction of everything, Now, he created also a faction of the Restoration Council, one, I guess, led by Lady Lobati, Winnie Lobati, the Secretary General, the former Secretary General at the Restoration Council. And after creating these factions, Sako went away with what he now still calls the interim government. And then, on the eve of his impeachment and removal, Sako put out a statement dismissing or dissolving the Restoration Council. And so today, having been impeached and removed, Dr. Samuel Sako says he is still hanging there. He is still the president of Ambazonia.
Let's get something here.
But the Restoration Council, that is
I'd like us to get, just pause a little, let's get something. Now, Mr. Arnold, I want to find out, does this man read? And if at all he reads anything that is out of his monologue, does he understand English? The president, we have the letters. I'm not going to read it because we have a lot to discuss today and I don't want to waste your time reading the letter. Most of you have read this letter. The president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia has never ever in any document dissolved the Restoration Council. So that's disinformation and misinformation. So I tell you that platform, you that is cling to it, you're doing a danger to yourself. Even the Bible advises, says, guard your heart with all diligence because out of it are the issues of life. You have to choose what you listen to, what gets into yourself. I just got this so that I can help to dismantle the fraud. We've done enough already to dismantle it anyway, but then there's still some people that need some explanation. I want you to get the misinformation. This is where you get factual information. I'm talking legality, and I'm challenging all of them. I've told them, plus the activists, that no platform has been truthful like ABC. We talk with legality and constitutionality, and we have facts. They are talking from their empty scores. Yes, permit me to call it empty scores, because if you see the way people are moving, very senseless. Sometimes they have no direction. Even in their purpose, they are confusing it. Now, the president acted on his constitutional authority. Article 9 of our interim constitution gives the president, commander-in-chief, and head of the armed forces the authority to enforce the laws. Go and read all the subsections. And what was the law that the president was enforcing? First and foremost, Mr. Cometa created a constitutional crisis by making an unconstitutional statement and giving a mandate that that can only be found in his head. True, they sat in the Restoration Council, thought of something, and made a resolution. But there is a procedure. So these individuals defied protocols and procedures and then want to impose it on anyone. Not everyone, the vice chair of the restoration, of the defunct Restoration Council, Chris Ajwa, said it on this TV at the back and on this TV in a town hall that I have a note of all of it. I don't forget serious things. He said the statement Cometa made on the day of inauguration was wrong, unconstitutional. I wonder why he's following this direction. Why was he doing that? But that's a story for another day. So the president had to enforce a Restoration Council that is a Cometa that is a flop, that is unconstitutional in his thought, words, and actions, that will send out contravening government communiques. That can be disgraceful. There are a series of illegal things. Cometa sends out messages and has no reference. Thus, he makes decisions from his core and does not reference the Constitution. And he was getting exhaustive already. Cometa took upon himself to tell us Ambazonians that a certain Abongo Harrison that was appointed by the president owns the APP. That was enough. The president had to take action. It is unheard of in no country in the world, even the most democratic countries. The vice president does not dictate to the president. And even if you have a debate, it should be between or within the boundaries of the laws of our land. We cannot present ourselves as being disgraceful. French Cameroonians are looking at us. So, vous êtes les anglophones. Permit me using this language on this platform. But that's how, are you guys really that? How can a former communications secretary be so empty when it comes to substance in language? He doesn't understand English. Has he ever read this Constitution? Tell him when he's talking to you next time. Quote what you're saying in the Constitution. Quote me one article that supports your opinion. He perambulated a video one time and that something was said in the video. Was it in the Constitution? So be careful. The president did not dissolve the Restoration Council. The president, after the county chairs and LGAs withdrew their members from a Restoration Council that is not law-abiding, the president took, and they called on the president to take an action. The president took responsibility to protect the country from rebels, from hijackers, coup plotters. If you follow their actions, these definitions go. We're just describing them. We're not insulting them. That's who they are. And of course, they are even agreeing, because some of them that have a little bit of sense but are corrupt, they want us to agree that they now want to say, yes, of course, we are coup plotters. Mike Fusi, I hear in one of their meetings, was telling them, we cannot run away. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot run away from that title. That's very revealing. Meaning, that should tell you Ambazonians that they know that they have not respected protocols and procedures. So why are they now wanting to adopt that name? Some of them are not wanting it, some want it, because they want to legitimize the fact that through their coup, they saw something that was needed. Let's follow this video again and really see what Mr. Anu is saying and compare it with falsehood and truth, information and misinformation. Let's go ahead.
Respected by all Ambazonians, I mean all of Ambazonia, having impeached and removed Dr. Sako, had to fill the vacancy created by that impeachment and removal. In a meeting held last week, the Restoration Council members nominated Dr. Emmanuel Tita and Iya Marianta Jomia Ndo to become transitional president and vice president respectively for 4 months for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't said that.
Just a moment,
now,
just a moment. Who impeached the president? A deformed Restoration Council? Are we going to build a nation where anybody sits in a ghetto and sends out a letter to impeach? Let's even consider the fact that this Restoration Council, at the time of what they call or purported impeachment, was active. According to the Constitution, they were deformed. Their activities, official activities, had been suspended. And if these guys were even interested in any civilized discussion, they would have come to the AS. What is the ASSC? The ASSC is Ambazonia stakeholders. I told you last week, stay clear of stakeholders and noisemakers. A stakeholder is somebody that is committed with substance, not just noise. That you have a huge voice and you're noisy doesn't make you a stakeholder. So why are they afraid of a stakeholder strategic conference, a platform where everybody is going to talk? Why? You have been given a chance to come and talk. If you are a stakeholder, so Ambazonians, ask them, if you're a stakeholder, go to Washington in a few days. No stakeholder will be left out. Every stakeholder, for or against Dr. Sako, has a right to rekindle in Washington and have a civilized discussion. So if you're avoiding it, what are you? Check those individuals. They most probably would be noisemakers. Stay clear. Don't forget this. Never forget it. Stay clear of stakeholders. There's a clear difference between stakeholders and noisemakers. And we're going to find out today if Anu is a stakeholder or is a noisemaker. Nobody impeached Sako. How do you impeach a man? Are we that primitive? How do you impeach a person without trial? How do you pass a verdict without due process? Ambazonians are not fools, and they're not going to accept that. Let's listen.
To remind every one of you Ambazonians out there, the battle to relinquish, to take over everything that belongs to Ambazonian interim government from Dr. Samuel Ekomesako isn't over yet. This is very, very critical. ABC is still under their control. We will get it back. If you are listening to me, please take note. We are coming after you. We will get it back. This interim government will get back ABC from you. Now, also...
Before you come, Mr. Arnold, make sure you come with 135,000 US dollars you and your guys took from Ambazonians. But we're waiting on you. I know you have you have something in your mind. You just feel that you can do and undo. I don't know who ever deceived you to think that way. Before you come, and by the time you're coming, also come with ABC console. Now this is Mr. Arnold that tells ABC, come and carry your equipment away. Carry your things out. Quickly, carry your things. He had the agenda to start his TV. With the pretext, he came and told Ambazonians to manipulate a few via emotions. They said, oh, I've been so disrespected. You have been so disrespected because for once in your life, you were not given the free flow to dictate. A place that was rented, well equipped, you pack the things, choose what you want, and send what you didn't want. Kept the newest console that was bought. Manipulated the board in post. Nobody spoke with the landlord but you. You said you were breaking a lease. 3 months rent was given to you to break a lease. Nobody's a fool here. They paid rent for ABS, purportedly breaking a lease because you're using the venue. We now have intelligence information that the lease was not even broken. So you're using the venue, you're using the console. So ABC took the draft money that you never wanted us to draft to pay for ABS and their new console, you owned it. And then you just think that after you have helped to destroy, you just wake up one morning in your illusion. We will, as what? Let me talk this kind of grammar. When was the last time we donated to the treasury? The we, including you. When? You want to stop Dr. Sako, and those who believe in his vision are putting their money in a treasury, and you dare want to come after it? This is crazy. I see some people calling you on Facebook Chris Anus. Please, you don't need to go that low. I don't need to go that low. His name is Chris Anus, not Chris Anus. So I don't need to go that low. But then perhaps it's because of crazy actions. This is crazy. You want to use clandestine means, aggressive means to achieve your wills all the time. This is crazy. Let's continue.
Very, very important. The treasury is still there. I understand that the treasury has been sealed. The treasury has been sealed, but it is going to completely be taken over by this interim government, and I hope that our humble treasurer, Richard Tangu, hears me. But also very, very critical and important, ladies and gentlemen, are the county chairs who are still flogging on the side of Samuel Ekome Sako. We set out this government to work in a structuralized manner, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we have the Restoration Council, we have the LGAs, we have the counties, and then we have the central government. Then we also have the countries and the regions. The countries and the regions. When each of these structures, especially the Restoration Council, ladies and gentlemen, that acts as a supervisory body, authority over the entire interim government, makes a decision, it is expected that every branch of this government, of this structure, listens to it. That is the reason why we here.
You've heard him. in his illusion. Listen, you guys should stop trying to use right thinking minds. You're calling Richard Tangu. Richard Tangu is a man of principle, of great principle. Richard Tangu knows that that money does not belong to you coup plotters. Richard Tangu understands Ambazonia Foundation is governed by the laws of the United States of America, and Richard Tangu will definitely not make your mistake. I do not believe that Richard Tangu is as dull as you may want him to be. That foundation is made up of board members, and your money is not inside. Counties have their money there, and those who recently donated, can you imagine? These guys started stopping, the coup plotters stopped donating when Chris Arnold started his raging campaign, his evil mechanization. So those who believed that they were fraudsters continue donating. And then those who have not been donating for 3 to 4 months are now teaming up, thinking in their score that they want to come where they were not keeping their resources to take it over. The Ambazonians that have their money there want it to be used for the purpose it was given. You have not succeeded enough to lie to them that their money is not properly used. And before you talk about auditing, wait until you're fully audited and you explain what you have been doing with all the resources that have been given to you. Today we have Smooth. Go back to Richard Tangu. He's going to tell you that we have more transparency in ABC better than what you left. There is understanding. The board can understand what is happening. So we are going to come over what? Let's continue.
We here, the people of Ambazonia, through the APP, were not, ladies and gentlemen, they were not in a rush to pick a leader. To pick a leader after Samuel Ekomesako broke the interim government. Ladies and gentlemen, if for 4 years, Samuel Ekomesako cannot render account of what he has done with our money, why should anybody trust him with one more dime when only yesterday AFCON was here and gone? Samuel Ekomesako did not as much as make a statement. Not even a statement, ladies and gentlemen. AFCON was here and gone, and Sako did not as much as make a statement. 11 February was here, it is gone. Somewhere Ekomesako did not as much as make a statement. And anybody believes this guy is fighting for Ambazonia? He is not fighting for Ambazonia. He is fighting for somebody in La République du Cameroon. I think he is fighting for CDC and their masters. Ladies and gentlemen, he is fighting for CDC and their masters. Fellow Ambazonians, we have to strip Samuel Ekomesako of every dime. Every dime. Our very important.
Boss, we're going to start by stripping you of everything you have taken from ABC. That's where we will start. Let me explain something. Before AFCON, why Ambazonians, some were contacting this man, begging him to stop his rowdiness and distraction so that we can focus. Mr. Arnold, we have intelligence, was calling fighters on the ground and distracting them. He took out time to call fighters. We hear there was a platform where any fighter on the ground who said anything wrong was kicked out. He was in that platform with, I respect these guys that are fighting for us with their blood, so I don't like calling their names. At that time, when the president was mobilizing resources and sending, Ambazonians, you have to understand the success we made. In spite of the distraction, you still had a success that was made by fighters that were sponsored by the president. Cameroon has a quarterly budget, military budget of about $250 million. Ambazonia yearly is barely raising 3 million. So you have to understand, the interest there was not to effectively stop the march. It is possible. Are we saying we're not going to do it someday? We can do it. The point there was to raise the mark. And during that time, you heard some popcorns. You saw things. Chris Arnold was distracting and calling to stop. Why? He still wanted to paint the picture. All this president is feeling. Go to your Richard Tango. He's going to tell you monies that the president signed and it was sent. It was sent. It wasn't sufficient, but money was sent. You will strip the president or strip the government of what? Ask Mr. Arnold. Our money. He says our money. Tell him to show you his receipt for the last draft he made. Let's continue.
And very, very critical, ladies and gentlemen. We must strip Samuel Ikome Sako of every dime. But he needs our money to see that done. He needs our money. He needs our money. He needs our money. He needs our money to see that done. And the only way we get that money into him is, ladies and gentlemen, making sure a dime does not go into the hands of Samuel Ikome Sako. You give him money, he runs away with ABC, your television. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When we registered ABC was registered in my name and 3 others, 4 names. That is a standard in the US. If you have to register any company, they have to be a number of people who are signatories to that registration. So as a secretary of communications and the one who started it, I signed it, 4 or 3 others signed it. Now I want to explain to you so you know that ABC is Ambazonia's television. 4 of us signed the documents for ABC. After we signed it, the company was registered. We also signed a document that an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. We signed a Memorandum of Understanding to the effect that none of us own ABC or no one in. I will open the phone lines. I like to hear
Pause.
of you out.
Pause. He has said something that's truthful there. ABC belongs to the people. And I've told you this. It belongs to the people of Ambazonia 100%. And this is the only platform that you own it. And don't believe that if this man could not take it and personalize, he did it for a while. And the president, in his sagesse and tolerance, permitted him to do what he wanted. There was a time he never even wanted anybody on air. He just interrupts. He does things the way he wanted all the time. So he has spoken one truth at least for. It has been boring listening. I know you're feeling bored like me. But at least he said one truth. It belongs to Ambazonians. But the curse was to have him at the helm of registration and management, because we lost 501c status because this man is a mess when it comes to administration. He did not file for taxes. That is tantamount to illegal charges in the United States of America. For 3 years, he didn't file in for taxes. And him and Abongwa concocted something and said he should not be drafted. And that's where some of the problems started. When resource mobilization was insisted, we have to audit this body before it is drafted. You see, Ambazonians, we have been staying silent. We've been staying silent for some time, not because we don't know how to talk, but because we thought sometimes it just contained some issues and then we move on. But the noise is too much. The lies, the manipulation, the incoherence. I might consider doing that to show how incoherent this man has been from the day when he started saying, no, the problem is not Dr. Sako. The problem is not Iringwa. One cocoa, that tire. You see, what is his problem? And then all of a sudden, about Monday, the election, he's just confused in his own confusion. What does he want? I told Mr. Arnold that what you want to do, you're not going to succeed. You don't even know how to do it. He thought I was joking. I said in the department when he started this thing, I said, I told everybody in the department, ask those that have left and those that are still there, they're going to tell you. I said, this is what he wanted to do. He's assuming that his media presence is going to be a weapon. And that's one of the reasons I decided to come live. I prefer walking at the back. The interesting part as we conclude this audio, I want you to listen to it. Ambazonians are not fooled. Let's listen.
What they feel about our new leaders.
I'm calling from Mezam, Ground Zero.
Okay, and what is your contribution?
You know, where we find ourselves is in a very uncertain situation. And you cannot impose leaders on people. I'm sorry to say I have to differ with you. And that is how Ground Zero differs with you and your cliques in everything. Dr. Sako Tilboya, so Dr. Tita and the rest, those are irrelevant. We are at war. People are dying here. And you are there playing politics. That is not fair.
All right. Okay, hold on there. Hold on there. I'm not rushing you. Hold on there. Listen to me. I know that sometimes when people call with negative comments, they think I'm going to cut them off. No, I don't do that. But I like you when you say this is not fair. Can you tell us what is not fair, please?
First, Lady K, you know you chased Lady K out of ABC. She is a main person.
No. You are talking about something else. You are talking about Sako, and you said you mentioned Tita and Marianta. You said it's not fair. Can you tell us what is not fair?
Dr. Sako is the God-ordained leader Tiboya. So the rest, Tita is the rest. Those are personal non-gratas.
So why do you think that he is God-ordained?
You know one thing.
Speak.
Yes, your ABS will go down. You have 700.
All right, thank you. You have a great day. Okay, if you call and you cannot explain.
We are done with that. We're done with it. You can remove this video on the screen. I've just been reliably informed that the SOS is back the stage and he'll be ready to come. But before he comes, you're wanting us to comment. I'm sure you would have seen Dr. Tita's letter. For those of you who have been following me closely from the backstage and in front, I said something last week when there was a purported nomination and election of Dr. Tita. I call him brother friend. And I told you Ambazonians that I will not react and I will not make a statement until I see an audio visual of Dr. Tita. And a lot of people did not understand what I meant. I knew what I said. I was not ignorant of anything. I knew exactly what I said. But then I was waiting for things to come to fruition. When Dr. Tita took a flight to Washington, and when whatever was done there, or just so you know, nothing like inauguration took place. Now he told them that he's concerned about his security and family, blah, 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 blah. At least he had to say so. Please, I know there are different opinions. I'm telling you people, avoid analyzing anything. I'm not going to divulge a lot of information now. But one of these days, he'll be live, hopefully, and he's going to talk for himself on some things. But he had to tell them that he was concerned about his security. Do you think Dr. Tita is concerned about his security? Do you think? He told them, how do you expect that you go to Washington and you meet wolves? And you don't tell them that you're concerned about your security. That's why you don't want to go through the process of inauguration. If he had told them, listen, I've just realized you guys are fraudsters. Whatever you're doing is baseless. Maybe they would have, maybe anything would have happened. I just don't want to use some words. When Dr. Tita, this is the only information I give to you, and then I'll read it for those who might not have read, so that our people watching everywhere in the world can get some things. When he left Washington that evening, he immediately contacted me, sent a message, and told me, my brother, I'm done with my investigation. That was the word. I'm not going to continue with the rest of the things we discussed, but I will tell you that we have been in a couple of calls since then until this morning. Even just a few minutes ago, I spoke with him. Before he took his flight from Washington back to Florida, he spoke with me. Mr. Arnold and his gang has got to be careful with what they think they want to do to the nation of Ambazonia. They've got to be careful. During a wartime, we need critical thinkers. During challenging times, you need aggressive measures. We have been defending all the attacks for a long time. They've been attacking us. Attacking us on the social media, we come and we defend. Use other methods. They now want to go to our treasury. It is not their treasury because they have not been donating in it. One of these days, we're going to take on the offensive. There's no need for that because we have energy for French Cameroon. If you formed your government, listen, that Dr. Tita is not your president. And I don't think they're going to stop. Ambazonians don't expect that they're going to stop. But we've just, what has happened today has just taught them a lesson. That we can do things. We can use extraordinary means to achieve real things. I'm advising them, if they are interested in French Cameroon, they should stop coming after us and focus. If they win, if they fight Cameroon, that is okay. I'm advising these individuals who are going behind youths, trying to instrumentalize them. You want to make them spacemen of evil experimentation. I'm advising them to back out from these acts. Not the generation of today. Mr. Bia knows this generation. I'm advising you, old men, to be careful. Be very careful. I want to read Dr. Tita's letter. I'm not going to make many more. The letter has it all. I'm not going to comment a lot so that we can transition into the office of the communication secretary and talk some real things. Dear comrades, I joined this revolution like most of you to fight the enemy, take our country back and fight anything and anyone who stands in our way. I was one of those who believed that the Restoration Council had a genuine case against the president as presented by some of our compatriots. And I believe that if properly impeached, he should be replaced. But I was mistaken. I'm objective and I believe in institutions and in the supremacy of the Constitution. I engaged in this process of change, the purported nomination and election to the office of President of Ambazonia to replace our current president, with the belief that it was the right thing to do, but with the intention to also investigate and be sure that history will not put me on the wrong side. Fellow compatriots, I have some alarming discoveries which have caused me to reconsider my judgment today. My conscience will not allow me to continue in what appears to be an enterprise of hate that has the propensity to destroy our struggle for a free homeland. I discovered, after close observation and investigation, that most of what Chairman Comita and his group based their so-called impeachment on were innuendos and fabrication. I was not given a single credible proof, and from the integrity of my heart, I have decided that I won't be part of a project founded on lies. I believe that our house, the IG, needs some fixes. I also believe that the struggle needs some fixes. But we cannot do this through hate and self-destruction. I want to ask Ambazonians, or anyone who thought before now that I chose the wrong side, to forgive me. But I also believe that if I didn't do this, I probably wouldn't have discovered the true intentions of the masterminds of these enterprises of hate against our struggle. Sometime in the future, I will speak to you and others in greater detail about my discoveries and all the reasons that informed my decision to withdraw from flawed process of replacing the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako. And even if our intentions were good and the process wasn't flawed and everything was done in full legality and constitutionality, my family's security is paramount at this time. Thank you for your thoughtfulness and understanding. Emmanuel G. Tita, Farm D, RPH, SOS of Department of HSS, aka I'm smiling, aka Interim President-elect, on Tuesday, 22nd February 2022. So copied the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, I would rather want to call this defunct Restoration Council. It should be at the Ethics Committee, the Cabinet of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and the people of Ambazonia. This is what I want. This is an aside as we transition. I'm not going to make further comments yet. When I get Dr. Tita any day soon, and maybe some others on this platform, we will present some details to you. But there's a lot the SOS has to tell you. There's something I want to tell you. Some of you have seen the resignation of Dr. Ngwame. Those are my friends. Dr. Ngwame might have resigned from the Department of Communication, but he's not a coup plotter. I know we have our different opinion. He did not resign because he is plotting any coup. with anyone. I'm not going to give you details, but I can tell you he's not a coup plotter. I regret that I will not be working with him. He's a man who has his opinions, very strong opinions, but he's honest. He might have not been able to do things somehow the way, if I call him today to do some things, if we even call him to do some things for us, he's still going to do them. He might have, he's an intelligent person, young and intelligent. There's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. He might have hurt some of us with some of his actions, but he is an Ambazonian that loves Ambazonia and wants our freedom. He has not resigned from the interim government. He's still committed with his LGA. I spoke with him and I told him, this is what I told him. I said, I'm not happy that you made your decision before talking to me, before we spoke. And I will not tell you what he said, but he's an honorable man. I regret that I will not be working with him for some time. Please, we've got to forge ahead. As a team, Dr. Sako has never had a policy of sending people away. It is not in his style. When you choose to go, you go. He doesn't send people away. I believe that people like Dr. Nwambe, he's a stakeholder. He's not a noisemaker. Dr. Nwambe is a stakeholder. People like Dr. Nwambe, we should be able to sit down and have a sane discussion as per the way forward of our nation. Maybe in the ASSC or other different platforms. These are young men, Dr. Tita, Dr. Nwambe, and many others. They want you to believe that the president doesn't give opportunity to young men. That's falsehood. 4 years ago, the president gave me an opportunity at a time that I considered myself maybe a dropout. And that has changed my focus. It has built my esteem on taking responsibility. So they want you to believe that the president, and so they thought that coming to take the president's, I would say, a son he's grooming, Dr. Tita, to use to manipulate public was going to gain them some political coins. But they failed. We beat them in their own game. We must understand that Ambazonia is a nation that will be built on the foundation of the laws. Whatever our laws may be at any given point in time, we will uphold, at least to a very great extent, we will uphold the laws of the land. And we will not allow men who do not even own a copy of our constitution to dictate the pace of our time. Whatever they are attempting or trying to do, let it be known that they cannot even do it. If they want to be aggressive, that we choose to be civil does not mean we are weak. If they continue with the aggression, then we will equate it one of these days. If you want us to talk constitution, show us in the constitution what legitimizes your action. Until then, shut up. Thank you, fellow Ambazonians, for being patient. I've taken so much of your time. I will be transitioning to the office of the Secretary of State for Communications and IT so that he will present his discussion to the nation of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Hello, Paddy, can you hear me?
The floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever time applies to you. This is my weekly discussion with the Ambazonian people. As I said last week, this week is the same. Today is a day of sadness. We learned that 24 to 48 hours ago, a young gentleman in the name of Peter was burned alive in the great county of Ngwagutunja. That's my home county. I am full of regret. I am full of anguish. I am extremely angry because we all know what is happening. We all know the atrocities committed by Little Cameroon on our people. But in any case, I take the occasion to salute our ARFs for doing a marvelous job, for making sure that they defend our nation. Again, I also take the occasion to thank the Ambazonian people at large, because without you, we wouldn't be where we are. This is also a moment of great vindication of the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sako. You all heard what happened in the past 48 hours. So I need not go into that detail. We all know that. And it's very important that whatever we do is reflected in our Constitution. And as the days and weeks and months go by, we shall be indicating to you, demonstrating to you, that everything that we do is in the Constitution. First, I'm just going to do a rundown of what has happened in the past week, at least to give you some focus. And then I shall go into the substance of today. From the week of February the 13th to the 19th, 2020, we had quite a good interaction with the President and the people of Ambazonia. On February 15th, you all remember that the President actually appreciated the work of Dr. Tita. And he said this: they achieved their 501c status as a non-for-profit organization in the USA, helping the needy among us. That's with reference to the NGO that was created to help the needy in Ground Zero. So he thanked Dr. Tita and Dr. Yaya of the HSS for their leadership. And I remember soon after that, and what happened, everybody said, oh, Dr. Sako has made an error. Why did he say that? Why did he congratulate somebody who will just, in a second, turn his eye on the IG and go somewhere else? But what we just witnessed vindicates Dr. Sako. This is an honest man. This is somebody, it does not matter what happens. Whenever you do something that is right, he celebrates success. And what does that mean? He will come out, he will talk to you, he will tell you the good things that you've done, just as if there's something that he doesn't agree with you. He will want to sit down and understand what is going on. And this leads me to Dr. Ngwambe. Before Dr. Ngwambe tendered his resignation, he called me. He explained why he was leaving. I told him that I was very sad. And I said I had mentioned it in my speech when I took this job, because I recognized him as a very brilliant person, somebody I would like to work with. Dr. Ngwambe is a family man. I know he just had a young baby, probably 2-3 months old, and I can understand the stress working under such conditions. And I know that when he talked to the president, they spoke for about an hour. And the president did everything to clarify his mind, why he had decided to resign. At the end of the day, I'm sure that when Dr. Ngwambe was leaving that conversation, he knew that there was nothing that he had against the president. It was just circumstances. And it happens in life. You may be going down a track, and over time, you realize that, oh, I might have made an error. And we've seen that. And I also realized that Dr. Tita is a registered pharmacist. And let me make this clear. In the United States, you cannot be a professional without going through ethics. And I'm sure that ethics knocked at the door of Dr. Tita. He said to myself, what I'm doing, am I ethically correct? I think it dawned upon him that all the facts were wrong. Welcome to Cometa. And this is a man who is working so hard to pull down this revolution for reasons that we know already. As the days and the weeks and the months go by, more information will be trickling to the public, and Ambazonians will have the ammunition to fight this evil spirit. We know it within the interim government already. So rest assured, we are not giving up. We are going to fight this. Just to continue with what transpired last week. So the president also held a meeting with the board of directors of our national treasury. And there he was reassured that our money is safe and government business is going on as usual. Once again, I want to congratulate Mr. Richard Tango for the excellent job that he's doing at the treasury. I know it is not an easy one, with all the pressures around him. So, Ambazonians, I want you to get this. I heard an audio from somebody claiming that now we already have the treasury. I think I was just laughing. As they've said in many other occasions, we all know that the treasury is with the Ambazonian people. The president reassured Ambazonians and reiterated iterated his innocence. I promised not to fail you. That is serious. Dr. Sako has never wavered. Never given up. In fact, whenever I speak to Dr. Sako, it's quite amazing that he has this childlike giggle at times that reduces the most difficult thing in your life to just nothing. You feel relieved, like a pressure relief valve. Even when I spoke to him last night, he has never changed. He's the same person all the time. He has this revolution in his heart. And I'm here to reassure the Ambazonian people, let they not be afraid. Do not be afraid. You have the right man doing the job. Dr. Sako thanked the ARFs and advised all fighters to remain professional and vigilant. Urged all supporters and Ambazonians of good faith to continue to draft, pay the CID, continue to support the Operation Lava Storm, and remain steadfast until we get to Boya. We should not be taken aback by our distractors, and we are just seeing it coming out in the open. We should listen to the president, listen to the cabinet, see the direction that Dr. Sako is taking us. On ABC TV, we are happy to announce that the ABC TV website is up and running. And I would like to seize the opportunity to congratulate the team, ABC TV, have Paddy King, Chairman Amos, Dr. Yaya, and all those in my entourage who worked so hard to make sure that the TV becomes a permanent fixture in our daily lives, making sure that information goes to ground zero, information goes to the Ambazonian people, the right type of information. The Zoom meeting of February the 19th, the president said, this is our struggle, and we must fight for it. And we had stock taking and words from all HSS directors. The This was the meeting with the this was the meeting with the HHS emergency board directors, and obviously it was a very difficult meeting, given the fact that at that time Dr. Tita was no longer with us. So he just reassured that we were going to work hard to make sure that Hope Relief Foundation, as a 503 or 501c organization, will continue to help our people at in Ground 1 and Ground 0. So this is just a summary of what transpired during the past week, or there's something more. I mean, we heard about the sort of company that the coup plotters have with Colonel Banqui to bring down Dr. Sacco. We just want to reassure them that this is not going to work. And you have just seen what is happening within that group. It's already started collapsing even before it got started. And what is even more amazing is that during their television encounter, they already started talking about money. Can you imagine? Money to run the television, not money to go to the ground forces. Which means that the status of the ground forces is second to what their needs are. They want to have money for themselves, and you could see Cristiano fighting to make sure that he has as much money as possible. This is a very greedy man. That's not what we're here for. So today we have to talk about something a little bit different. When I took this job, Secretary of Communication, I knew that I will be at the forefront of most of the engagements that the president will be involved in. And I will be assigned specific roles to play. And you all know that I'm the project manager for the ASSC2 project in Washington, D.C. Now, when I heard about that, as a project manager, something always comes to mind. First, you think about risks. What are the potential risks? And then you think about safety. When you talk about risks, you have quantitative risks and qualitative risks. What does qualitative mean? In order to qualify a risk, you have to look at its probability and its impact. Is it high probability, which means that it's possibly going to happen, and the impact? Is it high impact or low impact? So I started thinking around, what will be the potential? Imagine 200 people coming to a center. Don't you think that the probability of unsafe behavior will happen if you have 200 people? With all the noise around, oh, Sacco must go. Don't you think that if you have just 5 people meeting somewhere, maybe that risk will go down? I had to think about all this and advise the president. And what was even more amazing is that he understood that risk, and he called me to help me think about the whole process. Imagine something happens to the president. But I know that the probability is very low, because I'm very certain that you cannot harm the president. You cannot access him to harm him. But the impact is very high. So you have low probability and high impact. Imagine 200 Ambazonians in a hall. The probability to hurt them is very high, and the impact may be medium or high. These are all the things that actually went through my mind. As a project manager, you have to evaluate this. And I would like to take the occasion to thank the Red Feathers. For those who do not know the Red Feathers are the Ambazonian Secret Police or intelligence agency. They had conducted an independent risk assessment and contacted me, and it coincided with what I was doing. The Red Feathers of the New York and Washington, D.C. office, they did a marvelous job. And they were able to intercept a lot of vital information that will help me to address the situation we find ourselves in. So whatever conclusion that we arrived at in terms of who are those who will physically come to the conference and those who may access the Zoom connections, these are all based on risk assessment because we want people to be safe. Remember I talked about safety, operational excellence, and customer focus? At this time that people are dying at ground zero, you don't want to bring 100, Ambazonians in a hall eating and dancing and jumping and talking while our comrades, while our fellow countrymen are living in the bush, even for public information. I mean, it's not going to be a good thing. So we really have to curb our enthusiasm. So we're also thinking, now that you have 100 people, for instance, and you have to mitigate that risk, or you have to, what are the risk strategies? What can you do? You can either avoid it, you avoid it by, what do you do? For example, we use experts to make sure that, if people are going to connect with us remotely, at least that connection should be viable. It should be secure. We should be able to discuss. At the same time, making sure that they are safe wherever they are. As opposed to all coming into a big hall and screaming and raising hands and so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that the preparations are well done in terms of registration, in terms of making sure that those who actually participate in the vote are qualified. And that's why in the initial meeting that the DHA had with county heads, made it very clear that only those who have paid their draft of 2020 and maybe part of 2021 should be eligible to vote. So we know that these are really honest people who have been consistent with this struggle. We thought about, can we transfer the risk? How will we transfer risk? I'm going to come to that later on a different subject. You transfer the risk by taking an insurance policy or taking a warranty like you do for your car. You want to make sure that something happens, you get involved in an accident, you hurt somebody, you shouldn't be responsible for it. That insurance will take care of it. So that you don't go to prison or something of that matter. In case you kill somebody, somebody else takes care of it. But is this a situation we can transfer that risk? We don't have the way to, the money to ensure everybody coming into a center. Or can you mitigate it? Reduce the impact. You can reduce the impact by saying, okay, we are going to hire security force, a security service or the police. Well, how effective is that police? Imagine somebody brings a chemical in a can and sprays it on you and disappears. How is that going to help you? Or can we accept it? Risk acceptance. We say yes. Maybe there's an amount of it that we can accept. And we can accept it by making sure that only specific people will be allowed to come to the conference. Because we can control that crowd. We wouldn't need security. We wouldn't need some of the overheads that we have to cover if we have a big crowd. For example, we may need 2 or 3 cameras. Because of the sound system, you have to move from one location to the other. We may need a crew. And that costs money. At times as much as $3,000 a day. We are talking about $9,000 in addition to the hall that you rent. So I had to think about all these aspects for me to arrive at the conclusion that with today's technology, and the ability for us to ensure that we can identify participants through a video. We can allocate access codes and change them at will. I think the safest way to run this conference will be a limited number of people will go to Washington, D.C. and take a conference room and then connect with the rest of Ambazonia. That is the most ideal. It ensures safety, ensures operational excellence, and ensures customer focus. So the Ambazonian people who are our customers now will be served, and they will see that this is done fairly. So there was a lot of thought put into this process. So I just want to share this with the Ambazonian people, for them to know that we put reason behind everything that we do. And as I mentioned last week, and I'm sure the president also put more emphasis on that, is that we're going to have this one very important committee that will need people to vote, or delegates, put it that way, to vote. And that's where it is important that every LGA elects or selects 5 persons to be to participate in this vote. And this is under the Interim Constitution Legal Framework. You have the Restoration Council, you have the APP reform, you have Constitutional Affairs, and have the Resolution Committee. In fact, the Resolution Committee will combine all the issues that have been debated and agreed upon, and they will turn it into one conference document. So this is very critical. So you also have other committee members. You have resource mobilization. You have technical. You have venue and accommodation. You have publicity. You have administration and secretariat and security. They'll all be in the conference room in Washington, D.C. But we really have to zoom on these 4 subjects that have to work in the Constitution. And so, in terms of the date, we have March the 10th, which is the arrival between 9 and 6. 11th, from 9 to 11, we have the opening and identification. From 11 to 2, you have the plenary session for the Restoration Council. 2 to 3, we have voting for the delegates. 3 to 4, we have the plenary session for the APP reforms. 6 to 7, have voting. The next day, we have the Constitution and the resolution, which is the final. And then some others, other things will take place afterward. This is a very, very serious meeting that is conference that will take place in Washington, D.C. And after that, the president will appoint some constituent body to look at the vital parts of the resolution and to see how they can be turned into law. So this is just a sketch of what is going to happen in Washington, D.C. And I understand and believe that on Thursday, during the town hall meetings, people will have questions to ask, or they will need more clarification. I'll be there to talk about this because you all have to understand what we have to do in Washington, D.C. This is the future of Ambazonia. We have to work diligently. We have to work honestly. I also sent out a statement to explain how we are going to make sure that we have the necessary security measures put into place for this Zoom meeting. And just to clarify everybody, it does not mean that if you are a delegate, you cannot come to Washington, D.C. You may fly to Washington, D.C., but you may not have the clearance to actually go into a hall, which means that you can still access the conference on your cell phone. If you intend to visit friends or to meet with other delegates, that will be a mutual understanding among you. But what I'm saying is that I don't want to see 200 Ambazonians in a hall. There's a safety issue involved. Because we have been able to identify the threats. And we don't want people to be hurt. We cannot allow that, because that is irresponsibility on our part. Because if it happens, I'm sure everybody will say, oh, what happened? What did the IG do? Why couldn't they protect you? We cannot allow that to happen. You are free to come to Washington, D.C. And if there are people that I would like to meet, I would really want to meet them on a private basis. We can meet somewhere else. We can meet in a hotel, we can meet in a neutral ground, and we can discuss, we can chat, we can eat, and so on and so forth. But we cannot allow 200 or 100 Ambazonians going to a public place to talk about the problems in Ambazonia at this time. It is very risky. Again, I thank the Red Feathers for doing a remarkable job, especially the field offices in New York and Washington, D.C. They did a wonderful job to identify the threat. And that's what this government will be doing. Whatever we do, we have to identify the threats, because we have the people to help us do it. So because of the tight security, we have to follow the following instructions carefully. All stakeholders must be participating on a video calls, not audio calls, which means that you have to be seen. And it's only when you are seen and recognized that you get a code. Every session will have a new code. So we are going to generate the code per session. The moment that session is over, the code is no longer valid. So you cannot take that code and give it to somebody else to use. It will be invalid. And your video will remain on throughout the voting process. You cannot turn off your video and say, oh no, I don't want my face to be seen. No, the moment you do that, you will be taken out immediately. So I hope delegates are getting this. This is very serious. It's not the case with Chris Ano, who thinks that he can go along the roadside and say, vote, vote, vote to impeach the president. Whoever votes, whether it's La Republique or anybody, they just vote. We can't do that. There must be quality control. We have to make sure that those we have assigned to vote are those who vote. That's what quality control means. And quality assurance means that you actually have to check to make sure that it's consistent with the quality control that you put in place. Back home, if you want to write the GCE, of course, you register. On the day of the GCE, you have to show your acceptance slip and your picture on it that you are the person to write that exam. Even La Republique knows that, but apparently Chris Ano doesn't understand that. That for you to ask people to vote, there must be quality control and quality assurance. QCQA. So that's what we're trying to ensure that it works here. So we don't have foreigners, we don't have distractors to come and change the process illegally. The entry code is given 5 minutes before start time. So 5 minutes before start time, we're going to have the code. So these three conditions are obligatory. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the responsibility before the Ambazonian people and before the future of to make sure that when we go to Washington DC, we are going to do the right thing. And many things will happen when we come back. Drive this resolution to its final conclusion, which is good. Well, these are the few things I have to say today. I Because of what happened in the past 24 hours, I had a few other stories to give. But now that it's really, I mean, Dr. Sato has been vindicated, I understand why. Uh, like the gentleman who, what is his name, Sebastian Mbaiko, he said a lot of nonsense on, on Facebook regarding the piece of advice that Dr. Sato gave me to pursue that advice to get insurance, which is actually a very good thing for both families. Because insurance is another way to transfer your risk. But how can you turn it to be a case of bribery? I don't understand. Because when I listen to it, I just wonder if ambassadors can actually understand accept a story like this as true. Then there's something fundamental wrong with us. We need more education. One of the greatest things that has happened to ambassadors in America is the whole issue of insurance. How they've been able to protect their families, how they've been able to have a family bank, how they've been able to have uh, 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 better annuities, what they call index annuities or index life insurance, so they can protect themselves from calamity. I don't know how that idea can be so negative. And it was actually brought by an Amazonian to the Amazonian community. With the help of this gentleman, whom I consider a genius, we've had more than almost $1 billion or $2 billion actually invested in minority communities in the United States. Thanks to Amazon. And somehow this gentleman thinks it's a bad thing. This is ridiculous. I mentioned this last week. Democracy will only work in America when we get educated. It is not a one-way street. Like the gentleman who questioned Crisano. We have to have that questioning attitude. Ask questions. Find out what the answers are. Don't just hear something and say, oh, it is true. Up to today, we have not seen any valid piece of document that's supposed to find that Dr. Sako had any dealing with the CDC. And we all know that. But you have these people going on social media, on Facebook, telling the same story and you want to believe it. How can that be true? Well, I think I will stop here and if there are other topics for me to talk about, I'm ready to. If not, I think I'll be ready to take some questions from the audience and see how far we can get to go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. SOS, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much for your time, your commitment. You've been very detailed today. I would say that you have inspired us, being very strategic, very meticulous. Is an example that we, the youths of this nation that is fighting to survive and be unclutched from a Franco-Cameroon hegemony sponsored by Francafrique, would like to follow. I want to, on behalf of all the young Ambazonians home and abroad, to tell you thank you for dedicating your time to fight, most probably for us and our progenies. The Vice President called me last night, and in a lengthy discussion, he said one thing which is quite instrumental and which I would like to feature in this discussion. He said, listen, I am already 50 something, and I'm not necessarily fighting for me, because in 10 years time I'll be 60 or 60 something, and I'm fighting for Ambazonians and for people like you, for Dr. Ngwambi, for people like Dr. Tita and other youths that are within the system. You people will have to be careful, to be vigilant, and do not allow yourself to be instrumentalized by people who have chosen to despise institutions, protocols and processes, and even basic laws, either because of wickedness or of freeness in understanding. It's quite instrumental. I just want to add something based on this, on the security of what you were mentioning. Thank you for inviting me to be a part to work with you on that segment. We started a research today to find out how that the code will be able to identify when you have a code, where you're connecting from, and if you are not distributing it to another person, even though it's been facilitated by making sure that all stakeholders come Washington will be on video. So what you're actually saying is, if you cannot be identified on a video, you might not be able to participate for the Ambazonia Stakeholder Strategic Conference. Absolutely. Circumstances have led us to think that this is hard and a serious measure that must be taken. Unless for those maybe from ground zero, I don't know, that is a decision that your offices will have to determine. But sir, we want to go straight away into some serious concerns that I'm sure Ambazonians will have their questions for you. The focus of the government at this particular time. The situation, the president, I've listened to the president's audio about the treasury. It's quite concerning. And we understand that the coup plotters are using every way of trying to legitimize or prove to the people that they have some competence.
Right.
And we also understand that they have friends within part of our institutions, including the treasury.
Sympathizers, yes.
Yeah, I would say some sympathizers. You know how institutions work within the United States of America. What additional guarantee will you be giving to the peoples of Ambazonia today that I'm talking about the real stakeholders, people that in spite of those campaigning that money should not be given to Dr. Sako, they have decided that they will still give money for Dr. Sako to prosecute the war. And they took one night to raise close to 30,000 US dollars.
Right.
And in Lava Storm, close to 50-something thousand.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, sir, before you answer that question, I want to thank Ambazonians watching us. I want to thank you. We have established a new studio because you have funded it. Thank you for your funding. We've paid our bills because you funded it. Thank you for your funding. We're building a world-class website because you funded. Thank you very much for your funding. You are telling the coup plotters that you're smart enough and you cannot be dissuaded by any wind of doctrine. Thank you very much for believing in us. You keep donating. As of yesterday, as of this moment, many Ambazonians are still subscribing on the page. Some are just donating. Some just want to donate in the treasury or want to donate to ABC. Thank you. Thank you. You're making us proud, and we promise that we will make you proud. And just so you know, we are on a mission to make sure that Ambazonia does not only compete with big media houses in the business of news making, but we want to compete and we beat them in the market. And therefore your resources are being put into proper use. Also, just so you know that anybody can have a Facebook page. You can also pay a company to have a television, but not anybody can produce content. And to tell you that they are flop, they have not been able to produce content for a long time. The only ways they can get some of your views is if they take Dr. Sako and insult him. But he is giving them one thing to do. Notarize it. Follow a legal procedure even. If you so please, follow a legal procedure. And stop noise. That notwithstanding, you have seen some of the programs. Tomorrow you're going to have, and we would like to have your feedback, we're going to be having test transmission of our news on Daunted from tomorrow right up to the end of the month. For some technical reasons, we wanted to upgrade some things to make sure that even our test transmission will be good. So you'll be having test transmission tomorrow, right on to the 1st of March, where we will be beaming the news on almost every available multimedia platform from Monday to Friday and even on Sunday. We have veteran journalists like Diamonds Abbey that have chosen to be a part of our newsroom. Veteran educationists like Nijo with a seasoned British English that will be taking maybe the midnight news and pidgin news. You have our Honorable Peter Kule of the Defunct Restoration Council. These are some of the righteous men in the Defunct Restoration Council that will also be handling the pidgin news. And then you have our Uncle Okpala that will be taking care of Audunted Prime reports. You are going to have latest news, breaking news, exclusively on ABC Amba TV. We might be coming up from time to time to tackle some distractions so that we can inform our people, but our news and our programs will carry them. And we may not be having exclusive discussions regularly, or except when the SOS is coming, because we will be focused more on doing the real things at the back. Particularly, I will be working mostly on the background. There'll be many more programs coming, and you will never regret being a part of this dream, this Ambazonian dream of greatness and excellence. SOS, what guarantee do you have for your people that continue to donate for ABC and continue to believe that Dr. Sako has the vision that it will take for us to beat Cameroon in this war?
Thank you, Paddy. Before I actually go to the detail, let me just make a few comments here. I think one of the strengths that Dr. Sako has shown over his tenure as the president of the interim government is trust. He has consistently demonstrated to the Ambazonian people, to the ARFs, and to all our stakeholders that he can be trustworthy. He means what he says, and he does what he says. Without trust, nothing else works. And that's why, over and over again, when we listen to all these smear campaigns, it's like throwing water in a duck's back. It doesn't stick. Yesterday, or the day before, Dr. Sako sent out this audio to explain how the treasury works. And that's where you admire the qualities of a good project manager. And what is it? Communication. This is a skill set that not many people have, especially leaders of other groups. They lack communication skills. How often have you seen commentator come on television to explain all his fraudulent ways? How often? He can communicate. He says one thing and does something else and doesn't even recognize it, that he's doing something which is opposite to what he just said earlier. Communication is key. So when you communicate well, you engender trust. People trust in you. Some time ago, they accused Dr. Sako of, he invested in Bitcoin. Hello. Do you know that recently Europe actually approved the use of Bitcoin as a means of exchange? Isn't it wonderful that our president should be conversant even with modern trends? Well, how can it be a negative thing? How can it be? As a project manager, he has to understand all the intricacies of the economy so that he can make the necessary changes so that we can move forward. But somehow, whenever Dr. Sako even thinks about a new idea or implements an innovative way of doing things, they just blame him for being a con man. How can that be? When I listen to that audio, the only reason I'm talking about the audio is because I hope everybody listen to it. Because it's very clear. When we have a situation on the ground and we don't have money in a particular bucket, we borrow from other buckets. It's just a simple transaction. It does not mean that I take that money and put it in my pocket. Would you really expect Dr. Sako to take the people's money and put it in his pocket? People don't know that Dr. Sako is a financial expert. He's a real estate expert, which means that he's licensed. And in the United States, there's no way you can have a license without a background check. There are some people who are trying to seek naturalization in the United States. Some of whom are among the so-called coup plotters. They will never have nationality because their background check is fraudulent. They know it. I don't want to call names. Whether you're selling affidavits for people to get asylum papers. And I want to make it very clear. There's nothing wrong in giving affidavits. I have. As a matter of fact, I've given one. But I had to make sure that I check the risks. Is he an honest person? Did he come to this country honestly? Because they wanted me to give an affidavit of support. In case something happens to him, I should be able to take him home. I checked it. He came. Everything was fine. And do you know what I did? I had to give him 3 years of my tax returns. That's a requirement. I had to fill a form I-864. Go check it out. For the first time in 20 years, I turn over the paperwork. I said, you go. And what did I do? I gave him money as well. I did not ask money. I didn't say, pay me for me to do this. Or pay me in kind, as some of them do. I give that person money. So go send it to the lawyers and I'm sure it'll be okay. Exactly 2 weeks after, he told me he has gotten his approval. His green card will be coming, or Social Security will be coming. They gave him a green card a week after, and then a couple of weeks later, he had Social Security number. I'm proud to do that. So when I say sign an affidavit, it's as if there's nothing wrong in that, but do it the right way. Don't go to a chicken parlor and sell them out like they're flyers to a to a conference or to some sort of party. It is not right. So, coming back to Dr. Sako, I said trust is important. He has to be trusted. And he has never wavered as far as trust is concerned. I told you, when I got this job. I watched him very closely because my integrity is on the line. All my certifications are on the line. I have 4 certifications. And I wouldn't want to put them to danger by associating myself with somebody who may be assumed to be a crooked person. I checked all the time. I listened to him speak. And I came to the conclusion, this is an honest man. Why would I do something that is going to endanger myself and my family? Why would I do that for? I remember I'm not being paid to do this job.
And we're talking about the United States.
Just to make sure that this government runs. Yes, buddy.
Yeah, we're talking about the United States of America that is strict when it comes to financial laws. You see, the accusations that have been levied against the president has to do with money laundering and some things. And the president, being conversant of what it entails to handle such situations, has given something that nobody is willing to really take. And I thought that if they were so sure of what they wanted, they would have just done it. And you have unveiled something about the president, which I know that he has been always avoiding to see that publicly. I'm happy you did it, about the fact that he's a financial expert licensed in the United States. You know, I want to emphasize or highlight on this because there are individuals who are assuming that he's a man roaming around the streets and jobless and really doesn't know anything, and he's not doing anything and depending solely on the covers of Ambazonians, even though that cannot be substantiated with any evidence. But it's important for Ambazonians to know what it means to be a licensed financial advisor in the United States of America when it comes to investing and making proceeds. I just want you to talk a little bit on that so that it gives us some clarity for them to understand the man who is at the helm of our liberation movement at this time.
I mean, when I heard that gentleman who spoke like a child who has lost his innocence, and from further investigation, I discovered that he probably had a prison term in Dubai and came here as a mail order, and fell in the hands of Cometa and others, and of course, in the very secluded community of Ambazonians in DC, it's easy to interact with everybody, and you can see what the outcome is. People don't know when you have to deal with finance, in as much as you deal with health in America. They're very, very sensitive areas. We have to deal directly with human beings, or you deal with possessions, people that have to save their money or depend on you to give them financial advice, because that can change their future. Many people come to America for the American dream, but they end up with the American nightmare. Some do 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. And therefore, having a good knowledge about how you can optimize your finance and also keep your family intact and also have reserves in times of difficulty is critical. America is not a welfare country. People outside America, when they look at all the beautiful pictures and the very handsome people and the big cars, they think that America, they give out money on the street. It does not. Give an example. Having a car in America is not a statement of your social status. It's not. Cars are like bicycle in Ngokutunja. In the 70s and 80s, when people came to Ngokutunja, everybody had a bicycle. And they would say, oh my goodness, what is happening here? Go to Bambaland. Everybody, I had a bicycle. I had 2 bicycles when I was a young man. That was the means of transportation. You cannot be showing off to another Bambalan guy with a bicycle. They say, what the hell is that? That's no big deal. But maybe if you go up the hill to somewhere, to some place, you show a bicycle and say, oh my goodness, you're a rich man. That's the same thing in America. People have 3, 4 cars. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? So we have to understand this. So a person of Dr. Sacco's expertise is very, very vital in America, because health can either send you to your death, or it can make you permanently poor. The social security is very low, and that's why salaries are apparently high, because you take care of the risks, not the government. In England, it's the opposite way. Salaries are relatively low because high taxes carry that money to the government and they take care of you. So services like what Dr. Sacco offers to medium-income families is actually vital. And for he to be sustainable as an expert, he has to be an honest man. You take the anti-money laundering exam. You have to read for at least 8 hours continuously to finish the course, and you have to take the exam, and you must score at least 75% to pass. You have to see money laundering at a distance. Never get involved in it, because if you get involved in money laundering, your license is withdrawn and your name is taken off the books. Why would Dr. Sacco do that? And then you have this young man spewing dirt, and he knows it because his family is involved. From my own investigation, his family is involved in this business. Then why will you tarnish the name of somebody else when you do it? I don't know where all this anger and hatred is coming from. But have a theory. There are lots of people who have been disillusioned or who have been very, very unsuccessful and very unhappy with their condition ever since they came to America, because they have fallen into what they call the American nightmare. You may see them out in the public, they may be driving cars, but they are empty and they're full of vitriol. And some of the things that they have to churn it out to other people as well. And you can look at all these people who are behind these so-called cool leaders. You see that they actually exemplify that attitude of very, very unsuccessful people in their families and their careers. I'm sorry to say this. And you can see that somebody like Dr. Tita, who's actually offering services to society, he sat down and looked at it, said, what is the value in all this? And discovered it was wrong. Many would rather take us to their grave with anger. Let me give you another story. Remember in the 80s when AIDS came out? There were lots of people who were in prison because when they discovered that they had contracted the disease, instead of making sure that they protected themselves, they went out to spread the disease so that they don't die alone. It's the same attitude. These disgruntled, unsuccessful people in their professional lives, they want to take down the interim government and go down with it. Look at all of them. We are not going to allow that to happen. Fellow Ambazonians, things may be very difficult at your home. There is always hope. You can talk to somebody. You can discuss it openly. The wonderful thing about America is that there are lots of opportunities. Lots of opportunities. Whenever you take a profession where you need state registration, it's always very good. Doesn't matter what it is. It's when it is regulated by the state, they make sure that there are minimum standards. Whether you want to be a nurse, whether you want to be a financial expert, whether you want to be some health expert, and so on. There are lots of jobs because there are so many people who need service. And Ambazonians are very intelligent people. They have that minimum level of education that can help them survive. You can actually be a project manager with a secondary school certificate in America. Can you imagine? You can be, but you just have to work hard. Some project managers make up to $300 an hour. $300 an hour. But you really have to be very good. This is not a joke. You have to be very good. And you can work. You get all opportunities to self-educate and so on and so forth. So why this vitriol? Everybody I see on the screen, very angry about Dr. Sacco. You always see that they're failed people. They're failed. You cannot take Ambassador down the grave with you. It's not going to work. You have to change your mind and be more positive towards life. If you're more positive towards life, I'm sure God is going to help you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mongwa. You see, I love this side of the discussion. We're going to conclude on this and then take calls very briefly. Ambazonians will take your calls very briefly for 30 minutes. We're not going to be here for more than 3 hours. But now, our SOS, I want us to conclude on. I decided strategically to have you communicate to Ambazonians like this because there's a lot of manipulation because of who some Ambazonians are. There are a lot of Ambazonians that got to the struggle because of who they know and who brought them. You have people like the SOS of Defense. Frank is, I would say, he's a millionaire in CFA. These are some people, a lot of Ambazonians are not aware. A lot of people that are taking responsibility now within the government like you. These are people that you have not only created opportunities for yourself, you have created opportunities for communities and you're unveiling to people. Comrade Frank and many others that I already know are investors. And then when they have opportunities like you, they want to share with fellow comrades. Why am I bringing this? Because I realize in recent times, Ambazonians are trying to make it look evil. And I told people the other day, you have just come and you have cemented it, that do not deny the name Bitcoin.
Right.
Don't deny it. When they call it what they are telling you, even though they don't even know that the president is not stupid enough to invest in Bitcoin the way they are thinking. And even if he has to do his investment, which he doesn't use Ambazonia's money from their treasury to do his investment. They have taken the fact that people from within the government bring opportunities to try to use it to emotionally blackmail and to the weak minds, like you said, to distract. The other day, I don't want to remember, you were explaining to me an opportunity. That was a business opportunity, a big one. So to settle on that big opportunity, you receive an award. And I know this was a business award because we saw the pictures. It was not for the struggle, but it was money, millions getting into your account because of your intelligence in business and all of this. How do you intend to translate this so that, because I know that's part of your project and dream, so that Ambazonians can participate and benefit from your discovery in this world of business and millions? Because at the end of the day, the money has got to be made. We've got to give back. We've got to win the war. We've got to sustain our IDPs and refugees. And these are great ideas for field men like you, like Frank, like others that are taking responsibility, real business people that I know. How do you want to translate? Because a lot of young Ambazonians will you be having a project outside responsibility to help them get involved so that they are not caught up in what you call their, what did you call it, American?
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's take that and then we can take some questions.
Well, yeah, let me say, I don't think I have made millions, I have to be very honest. Very modest indeed. Well, one of the reasons why...
At least you have made some cash.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I came to this struggle. And this has been an ambition which I had all the way from home. Again, being a teacher, you don't want to be a teacher and let your students fail. It doesn't make sense. You always want to encourage them. You always want to show them the right thing. As an engineer, I used to help design things and tell them the secrets of my thought. How do you think around this? How do you start designing? How do you define the design basis? How do you identify the criteria so that it, whatever you do is in compliance with the design basis? So you can say, okay, you say I measure this thing so that I can connect it to all that sort of thing. So it's just been my philosophy. I just find it difficult that if I see somebody who is struggling and I know that I can help that person, mostly it's ideas, actually. I have to be honest. I don't have money to spread. I help with ideas. And so I will just tell you that maybe if you try this, it will help. If you try that, it might help. You have to think inwardly. Just to tell you a little story. About a year ago, I used to connect with kids back home, and I will teach them how to write essays. I will say, okay, let me bring a topic. I can say the Ambazonia struggle. Write me a one-page story. It's very clear so that when I read it, I understand. Communication skills is something I think I know because I do communication every day in the course of my work. I have to learn to write accurately and be able to transfer that information to some other person. I did that out of love. I taught a few kids, and I do it free, and so on and so forth. Just like I give free, music courses, guitar to my friends. Once I will connect them with Zoom and I'll show them how, because I've done music for over 9 years now. I know the theory. I know a lot of things about it. I always share what I have. So coming back to this opportunity, America has a lot of opportunities for many people. And you'll be surprised what each of us can do with the education we have to improve on our lives. And the ultimate goal for me is to offer opportunity to Ambazonians when we go back home. It is very important that I'm only here because of opportunity. If I did not have the opportunity, I would not be what I am today. It doesn't matter how many PhDs I had. If I was back in Ambazonia, there's no way I will compete with somebody who left high school in the United States. The reason being, that person here has opportunity. He is exposed to situations that will make him or her better. And that is my vision, to offer opportunity to everybody. And that's the principle of the interim government. We are going to offer opportunity to everybody, equal opportunity, so you can improve on yourself. And this scratch your back mentality of transactional leadership in the bigger government will go. Make it very clear. It hurts me when I see a lot of intelligent Ambazonians sit on the roadside doing nothing because they have to know a politician. They must be related to some big man. How can we grow a country based on that attitude? It's all about opportunity. I mean, I was lucky, but I also worked very hard. I worked very hard. And I took advantage of every bit of opportunity that came my way. And the reason being that I was always ready. I never gave up. No matter what happens, if I don't get a job, I say, okay, that's fine. I go back and I start reading, identify areas where I was weaker. I will study. And that's what I actually gained as a university professor. It took me time for over 14 years to do the entire curriculum I went through university. I said, oh my goodness. So these are the problems that I had. I didn't have time to do this because I was, I wanted to learn this, I wanted to learn that. It took me time. And suddenly I discovered that everything was at my grasp. I could understand. And that's how I was able to build myself to what I am today. Okay? So it's all about opportunity. And we should fight. We're fighting to offer opportunity to Ambazonians. And it should be everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're done with that segment. I'd like to have the phone numbers on the screen so we can start taking some calls. We're going to take few calls, but then I will read more the comments on coming in from our platform. We've had several comments already, people. If we can have the number on the screen, that would be very grateful. I will read a lot of comments that are coming in, and you just share with us some of your comments, and let me get to read them to the SOS. When I read your comments, it's better and faster because I can take many more people without necessarily the calls. So keep commenting, and you hashtag Ambazonia is free. Don't forget, you have to say that and say that and say that and say that until it saturates everywhere that Ambazonia is free. Look at how beautiful this is. Please, if we can have the phone lines on the screen, that would be awesome. How beautiful this is that we are having a nation of real opportunities, strict opportunities. I watch excerpts of videos where people were someone was reading impeachment and talking about a Bitcoin and something taking county, and just on the same TV platform, the person whom they were accusing or purporting that they did it came to the same platform, sir, to tell them, listen, what you said is not accurate. That was just an indication that whatever they were calling an impeachment was not verified, was just a witch hunt. It was very Apollo, and it was an apology. So Ambazonians, yes, keep putting in your hashtag. Somewhere Edja is saying that very positive and encouraging advice, SOS. Jack Evie says great studio, good job SOS and team. Yes, keep sharing your comments and we're reading. Lillian says equal opportunity in Ambazonia is what we building on. Ambazonia will be the only African country best as it will as we will build by intelligent people. Abuno Akwe says substance indeed, not shouting garbage. Not Anna said exactly, comrade, we are on the right side of history. Free Mokom is saying that there are lots of opportunities, very true. SOS great communicator, that's from Celestine N. Atanga. You had Ni Robert Bronses create laws against corruption. That has been taken note of. Milichi, the woman so full of excitement. She's always smiling. Her pictures full of smiles. Her front, she has an energy of she can generate excitement like a generator in a room. She says bribery and corruption will be federal crimes punishable by law. I can envisage her face when she's talking and smiling. Great encouraging comments there coming in from Ambazonians. Yes, what does Chair say? We are thriving to victory. Wow, congratulations. Okay, Best Man is asking you, what plans do you have in place to improve ABC TV? What plans do you have in place to improve ABC TV? SOS, that's for you.
Right. Thank you. That's an important request. ABC TV, and you've seen what has happened in the last couple of weeks since I took office. That process is continuing. We are working again. We need people, we need volunteers, and we need money. When all these are put into place, the quality will just go through the roof. I am very excited with the team I have. And one of the indicators, when you're a project manager, You look for success factors. How do you think this thing is going to work? One of the first success factors that I discovered was actually the ambience in meetings. Just the way that we sit calmly, we talk to each other, and even after the meeting, we have meetings that go for 3-4 hours. Can you imagine sacrificing 3-4 hours of your time that you probably would have spent at work or with your family? You are talking to friends, and after that, you still sit and talk. You say, "Oh my goodness!" They talk about other topics. They laugh at with each other. That is an indication that people have the right mindset. And we address each other not like SOS Martin. I mean, you address me MM. What difference does it make? I'm there like everybody else. And we sit around and we talk like Ambazonians. Because that's very important. These sort of things where people put themselves on a pedestal and they do things on their own and never listen to anybody. I will never write a script and send out without asking Paddy to look at it. I said, "Paddy, look at this. Does it make sense?" I send it to my chief of staff, Sister Ruth, "Look at this. Does it make sense?" And they say, "Oh, well, I send it to some other person, Dr. Yaya, for instance. I say, read this." I mean, they write better English than I do, and I recognize that. They will read it and say, "Oh, I think you did this here. I think, correct this grammar. Yeah, I know I'm an engineer and I deal with numbers most of the time. Yeah." I say, "Okay, that's fine. It makes more sense." And I say, "Okay, good. Thank you very much." I send it out. When I send it out, who gets the kude? It's me. I get it. And yet, all the efforts came from you. That is what teamwork is all about. We have to learn to work as a team. Nobody should be ashamed of making an error. There's nothing illegal in making an error. And whenever you are ahead of them, you have to learn to listen to them, because together you produce products and services that everybody likes. So to that Ambazonian, as I said, I need people and I need more money. And as things evolve, we're gonna let you know exactly what will be coming on your menu. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody, Benjamin Anye says, thank you very much, SOS. You are the best. Neil Robert said that was a good question. Lillian says, I can't be happy enough today, Dr. Tita, making his mind clear to Ambazonia. FT Sung Njo says, great job, SOS. Okay, Derek Fa, God doesn't like ugliness, and all the ugly-minded coup plotters can never escape from his wrath. Cho Amba says, Ambazonia is free from occultism and forces and blacklegs. Zoe Anderson says, great job, SOS. Mirobet Bablen says, bravo, SOS, set up a pop to our TV. That's great. Actually, what the SOS is trying to say is that the biggest way forward is collectivism. That's a summary of what the SOS said. Thank you. Pa Ngumba says, apart from loud sounding nothing noise from Coopers, they can't offer anything to Ambazonians. They are financially handicapped. Yeah, Zoe Anderson says, oh yes, teamwork. Milichi, yes, highly recommended. Okay, that's Facebook. Jack Jordan says, how much is ABC spending compared to the days of Arno? I don't know if the SOS wants to give you that details, but just so you know, we are doing much more and spending much less. And just so you know, spend. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate some videos on this platform now. A lot of money was spent just to take out when Chris Arno kicked us out. Chris Arno kicked us out from a studio that for him in Texas. He kicked us out and imposed and purportedly that they should break a lease, and 3 months was him to break a lease. We are not still using the venue. So I use this opportunity to tell Manka that Dr. May's mom, She used her card, SOS. Maybe you have to give details on that, to pay the bills even when the money was not disbursed yet. He used his card to pay the bills of ABC, about 2,000 US dollars. Ma Irene Ngwa, also via her connections with American Airlines, it was supposed to cost ABC Amba TV about 10,000 US dollars to get the equipment from Texas into Washington via FedEx. And because of Madam Irene's intervention and the discount American Airlines gave, we were free of about 80% of the money, and only 2,000 that Mama paid. I'm not sure that the Treasury has even reimbursed her yet.
Yeah, let me. Can I give more detail on that?
Yes, yeah,
This,
go, sir.
this was a wonderful act of patriotism by 4 Ambazonians, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Victorine, Ma Manka, Comrade Willie, Texas, and Ma Iringwa. They took it upon themselves to support the transfer or the movement of ABC equipment from Texas to, I think, Washington, D.C. I still owe them. I spoke to each of them to tell them that the interim government and my department of communications are aware of this, and we really thank them for what they did. And I think there will be a letter. It's already been drafted. It's just that suddenly we had this issue with coup plotters and whatever you may call them. So we've been extremely busy. I can rest assured them that that letter will be signed by me, and it will be sent to each of these individuals. It may not mean much, but at least it's a sign of appreciation for the service that they did to Ambazonia at the time of need. This is what we call celebrating success. Celebrating success simply means that somebody does something good, we should learn to acknowledge, say thank you, because when you do that, the tendency is that that person will repeat that action again. Okay, so this is a habit that we really have to carry on back to Ambazonia, writing letters of appreciation. And this is very American. People will write you letters for little things that you do, and you really feel honored. Okay, one good turn deserves another. I remember that was a story in one of our primary school readers or something of that nature, if I vaguely remember. One good turn deserves another. That's a statement of celebrating success. And we should do that more often. You have people who you do things to them and they just ignore you. I remember, I really have to say this. I wrote a strategic letter on some events in Ground Zero. Chris Arnold took it, called me and said, "Did you write this?" I said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "I'm going to publish it. So I said, "Okay, fine. We are all in the same struggle." And later on, when I discovered that he started playing all this thing about the president and so on, I called and I said, "No, this character I don't like. Can you please pull my article? Don't publish it." Do you know what he told me? "Oh, after all, it doesn't add value to my website." Can you imagine the venom? And for a second, I said, "Wow, what a character of a man. What a character of a man." And when I looked through that website, there was nothing that he wrote. It was all curl from CNN, curl from this, Al Jazeera, curl from this, and curl from this. Nothing of his own. And when I write something that was so original, when I made a comment, he told me that he added no value. Now he's just discovered that he adds no value to the Ambazonian struggle. And I remember the last communication with him. I told him, "You are doomed." And I mean it. I meant it. You are doomed. Just like I told Tabayan. I told Tabayan, when I go on air to talk about MTTB, that's the end of you. Nobody ever listen to you again. And I'm serious. When I tell you something like that, I mean it. I told Crisano, I told Tabayan. And I think they will sit back and think about this one day. You don't behave like that. You have to learn to recognize the little that little people do around you. Maybe he thought I was a little man. You don't do that. I always call Paddy and I thank him for what he does. At the end of every presentation, late at night, I will call Paddy. We'll go over the lessons learned. I mean, I like the way you presented this. We learn from it. I said, thank you. I do it because I want to celebrate success so that tomorrow, if I ask him to do something, he will hurriedly do it, as he's been doing, without any questions asked. We should learn to treat each other fairly. It doesn't have to depend on the qualifications that you have. It doesn't have to depend on the on your status. It doesn't have to depend because you are president or you are this. It does not work that way. We all need each other. From the garbage collector right down to your mailman, these are important people. We have to understand that. Otherwise, we cannot succeed as a society. Impossible. Look at what Biya is doing to La Republique. He swindles a quarter of the budget for himself and his family. I always say he's a Misolo president. He can do whatever he wants. People have given up. Not the interim government. We have not given up. Remember, this fight is against Paul Biya. It's not against Chris Ano. It's not against Elvis Commenter. This fight is against La Republique. These are people who have stripped us of every disenfranchised our entire community. Go look for the meaning of disenfranchisement. All the petrol stations in the north and southern zone are owned by Bamileke or Francophones. How can you take wealth from people and you expect them to support you? How is that possible? And all they can offer you is 4 inches of black tar in the name of a road.
Wow.
How can this be?
Thank you, SOS. Okay. Thank you very much, SOS. The comments are quite encouraging. There's an intriguing question here from take note of the question. I have to read some comments before you take this question. An intriguing question from Bestman. I like the question and I know it's challenging and you like challenging questions. He said, SOS, what personal efforts are you doing to improve on your communication skills on public speaking as SOS for Ambazonia? So you take note of that question. Let me just read some comments on people. God will judge all of you guys, okay? Then you have Abu Ungankubri, that is Professor Bridget, says, yes, humility is a virtue. Let's cultivate as Ambazonians. They have Kuplotta Stop and No Show. It says, you have Adu Ofembe, says, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Dr. Ikome Sako and his cabinet members are made of tough people and shall lead us to Boya. Thank you. Neil Robert says again, good answer, Mr. Pat. That's Satya says, okay, people are reacting to what he's saying that they're coming to get ABC Amba TV. Forget about it. That's empty talk. You know, people do talk empty talk. They want to show that they're strong men coming to get. Let him first of all manage the TV he has before coming to get this one. Let him manage the TV and pay his bills. So Derek Fa is saying, why are some men afraid of strong ladies? Is because of insecurity. Ma are never. You Ben Amazonians are with you. That is Derek Fa. Okay, Ma Irene should be hearing you, and she will definitely be smiling to say, hey. Okay, you have Adum Fambe says, and no, I'm not gonna read the insult part. Okay, SOS. Okay, Song Good says that is what we call transparency. Well done, guys, and well done to this great works from statesmen and women to move our struggle. Thank you, SOS. This is Robert Alu. Thank you, SOS, for your good vision, and God bless you. God bless the team work of ABC, and God bless, okay? Arrogance of highest caliber. That is Chris Arno for you. A very disrespectful man. That's coming from the excitement Generator Milichi. You have K. Mayong Kuvele Ozeke Chariot. Ma Irene is one of the faithful servants to be recognized in Boya. We shall honor and recognize faithful people. Best man says Chris Anu is empty-headed, arrogant fellow. Okay. Someone says stupid Anu. Okay. Vivian Anago says just calling the name Chris Anu makes me vomit. Oh Lord. Fidelis Amba says coup plotters are now saying. Okay, the calls keep coming in. Okay, this is a vital call. Many calls coming and just dropping. You're live on ABC Amba TV. Can you get away from your set, Pastor Commando? You're live. Pastor Commando, you want to lower your set, please? Thank you. You're live on ABC Amba TV. Good evening.
I have a question to ask the SOS. SOS, good evening. God bless you, my regards. And thank you so much for what you are doing and the teachings. And when you talk, Ambazonians recognize that this is somebody talking because you are instructing. And when you are instructing, of course, there are students too. I want to ask, you talked about the AFSC2 in Washington. And in the course of your talking, you said 100 people will not be in a room, 200 people, but you didn't tell us specifically how many people actually physical, so that we can imagine how many people are going to be there for the security that we are intending to give. So, if it were possible to have the number of people that are expected in Washington, that would be a very plausible thing to have us. So, how many people are you envisaging to be there physically present? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, Patty, I have two questions, correct?
Yeah.
I have two questions. Okay, let me start with the second one. Thank you, Pastor Commando. I recognize you. You're one of the great supporters of this revolution. To give a short answer to your question, we are going to admit all committee members plus special invited guests who obviously will be cleared before they get to the particular conference center. So I cannot give you the exact number now because I just sent out a request for people to those committee members and whoever is an invited guest to let us know whether or not they were able to make it there. I hope all committee members will make it, which is about 20 people. And on top of that, then we have other invited guests. It's very limited number, obviously for security reasons. And we cannot take the chance based on all the information that we got from our field offices in New York and Washington, D.C., of the potential threats and so on and so forth. We have to make sure that we reduce it. We want to make sure that we mitigate, and we have to deal with a crowd that we can handle, not out of emotions. I know how emotions run high among us, and we seem to get really excited when we meet each other, which is a good thing. But now, during the time of war, I'm looking at ground zero, and I don't want to portray a different public image. I don't want to make people on the ground say, oh, these people in America with all their money, look at, why didn't they save this money and then use Zoom and give that money to Restoration Force? That's exactly what I intend to negotiate. If you can save that and give that money so that we send it directly to the Restoration Forces, we will do that. It is not to buy Dr. Sakwe a new car or a new house or give it to him to invest in. No, that's not what we're doing. Remember, on top of the IG agenda is ground zero, is the ARF. They come top on our agenda. And I want Ambazonians to understand this. If I can save, instead of taking a train that may be more expensive, I'll probably fly that is cheaper. I'm going to look at all the different ways for me to communicate so that I can save money. Okay, maybe stay with a relative as opposed to take. I mean, I would think about all this because Amazonia I've been preoccupied with the restoration forces for ever since I took this job, or ever since I started the MTTB. When I know that my relatives have been killed in this war, I feel as if I have a moral responsibility to help those who are still alive. And I can only help them if we go to Boya. If we don't go to Boya, I cannot help them. I wish I can do something else, and that's why I'm very dedicated to this struggle. Now, coming to the second question, I don't know whether the person who asked this question is based in the United States or in Ambazonia. Do you know where that person is based? Hey, Paddy? Do you know?
I think that was that is Pastor Commander.
No,
Pastor
before
Commander.
that. I agree, but somebody asked a question about how do I...
Yeah, I think it should be ground zero.
Okay, ground zero.
Okay, I'm going to take, there are many questions coming in from text messaging. I'm going to take this last one so that we can round off the program.
Let me finish. Can I answer this?
Okay, yes, sir.
I hope that he doesn't mean that my communication skills are not good enough. I hope not. But I do my best to communicate. It's part of my profession as a project manager. You have to learn to communicate and communicate in such a way that people understand you. So I make that personal effort. If he was based in the United States, I can tell him a few things to do. There are organizations that actually offer training in public speaking, which I've been part of. They call them Toastmasters. It's you can just Google it wherever you are, anywhere in the world, in the Western world and elsewhere. You go there and then you start practicing your public speaking skills. So it is not difficult, but you have to be consistent and you have to practice and make mistakes in practice. I can assure you that if you do that over a period of maybe 6 months, then you start having that feeling that you can stand up and talk. I never write down a lot of things when I'm coming on air. People should know this. I always speak out of my head, so it's somewhere. So you have to learn to do this over time, and I believe it works. And by the way, in Ambazonia, we're going to have Toastmasters so that everybody should learn how to speak publicly. I think it's an educational exercise that everybody has the right to enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw something here. Somebody's writing here at the background. Okay, let me pick this caller. The caller, just wait. You're going to be the last caller. Read what somebody wrote. I don't want to call the name. Nanchop di say Sako threatened Chris say make he must give that TV say they go even find police for come beat Chris to collect the ABC. How do you think? Okay, I don't like calling that name Nanchop. He's a young man that is very disrespectful and very unintelligent. He says things that are very unsubstantiated. He got the opportunity to start. He got to a limelight to think that he can also start a television. When I met him during ASSC 2019, the first one, he was doing some audios in Germany. Yeah, I think a certain Mado or somebody and Dr. Elad. I got his contact, communicated with him, took his audios and videos and edited them, brought them in the TV, brought him and introduced him to Secretary Chris at the time with Paul Nilong and one HU in Germany. I had a meeting with the three of them. I encouraged them that we can start virtual status. I'm saying this. I think maybe for the first time I'm giving these details. I've heard some of the lies. People have brought to my attention some of the lies he's been lying. He's a young man who lies a lot. He says a lot of things that he cannot substantiate. He said I called him to beg him. I've never called to beg him. I called to beg him. There was a time when he started talking senselessly. I actually called him reason. I call a lot of people. If I've not begged Chris Arno, I will beg Nanchop. He told me to come and apologize for saying that they are calling themselves activists. And I told him I'm not going to do that. that I should come and apologize because he had rallied some of his watermouths to talk evil about me. He said a lot of things about me he doesn't even know. I'm not going to go down that path with him to say things I don't know. So he lies a lot. And he doesn't even say things that he knows. And when people now have the opportunity to, Mark Zuckerberg has made it easy. You can use Facebook and you think you have a television, create content. You can do it. It is humble and punish with content instead of unnecessary mail and insults. Well, Dr. Sacco never sent anybody to threaten Mr. Arnold. When Mr. Arnold kicked us out of Texas and was delaying and giving very difficult conditions for us to pick up, the director of the TV said, if you are not releasing our things, they'll send police. And the communication is there. We have proof, screenshots and messages. So forget about what Nanchop says. Any person that is intelligent doesn't take what he's saying seriously. He took an audio of Dr. Sacco. I watched the video. Somebody brought it to my attention. An audio Dr. Sacco was telling Mola Edith's account. Dr. Sacco sends audios like that to every person that when they sign the requisition, they need your account to send the money to you. And was saying that it is money that they were receiving, the money from the farm of cocoa, and people can just do. And he feels Ambazonians are so stupid to fall for that cheap, idiotic blackmail.
Sacco has one thing he told me a long time. He said, Dr. MM, don't worry about what people say. The truth lasts, but falsehood never does. And he's right. Now we started saying that falsehood. And just to put some beef on what he just said, we're seeking legal action to recover the console. And I'm happy to announce that yesterday, the group I put together, they said they've had a headway. So we are putting that legal action together. And we're going to recover that console. There's no doubt about that. So rest assured. And I mean, this vitriol really has to leave us. We have enough vitriol with La Republique. La Republique is there to exterminate us. And I don't know how often I have to tell everybody. We have to put our eyes on the prize. And that prize is Boya. We should forget about everything else. I wish we can just make people like Anu. Nobody is perfect. Despite all these things that Anu has done and created, he can drop all that and he's just as good as an ambassador as anybody else. And we can all work together towards that common goal.
Yeah.
Nobody is a saint. Okay.
Thank you. And as we conclude on this, I just want to say something that came to my mind. Because they brought this, someone brought a screenshot to me. We are doing our stuff. A child that has been properly raised, a child that has not been raised in the gutters, knows that you don't come on a public forum. That is not Ambazonian. And you talk about women in a very demeaning way. Women that took you like their son. I'm talking about Dr. Patience, Ma Rachel, Ma Iringwa. And you come to your platform and you're talking about them in a demeaning tone. Just the other day, I saw a screenshot of this same young man addressing a certain lady you don't even know. You call her Ashawo. This is somebody you don't know. This is a slang we use in Africa to describe prostitutes. You don't know her, and you come on a platform. And by any right-thinking Ambazonian, you see a youth, this is a proof that I'm not insulting him. This is a proof that he has been raised in the gutters.
I feel
because you are my brother. I'm going to beat you up. How can you call a lady in public a shawo? You don't even know her. You've never seen her. And you say we're bringing an Ashawo on the state TV. You see this, I don't like talking about this young man because he's first of all very dull. But you see, these are some things that make me want to talk about him. You see a woman you don't know,
and you
say
people
and you
don't,
describe her a prostitute.
yeah. People don't
Madam,
value
I
what they have.
received you, and the people received you in their house when you came to America, and then for one reason you fabricate stories about them. You have insulted this woman on your platform for many reasons, just because you want it your way. You've taken your platform and transformed it to insult. You see, this is, if you're any right-thinking Ambazonian cannot go to such a platform where a young man has zero morals. I use words here that when you watch here, have you ever heard we say somebody is an ashawo here or something like that? Or say things that we cannot
If you
prove?
do it, I will tell the president that you should be fired. Since I didn't hire you, I will talk to the person who hired you to fire you, because look, at times people don't know what they have until they lose it. I happen to have grown up without my mother. And when I hear people treating women that way, I just say to them, you don't know what it means when you don't have one. Because I lived through that trauma all my life. And that's even for that reason why I adore my significant other, because she is so important to me. Because when I see the services that she offers to our children and to me, and I say, wow, I missed something. But all the same, we're always happy for the opportunities that we get through life. And things of this nature should not be tolerated at all. Never. And I think in Ambazonia, the government responsibility will recognize the role that women play in our society. Because we've known, even from the Western world, that the African family, it's thanks to the woman that the African family actually survives, especially now. Because the men make all the laws, like everywhere else. But at least society hasn't come together to terms with the fact that women have to be protected. And I hope that, in Ambazonia, we will make protection structures for women so that they are respected, because we know the role they play. They are taking the brunt of this revolution. Their sons are killed, their husbands are killed, and they're left little to fend for themselves. This should not be something that somebody can go on a platform and make such derogatory remarks about women. That's totally uncalled for.
And you realize a year he was trying to deny he never know me. The truth, yes, you never know me. I'm saying on TV, I brought you to the communications department, introduced you to Chris Ano, and they gave you confidence. When you were sent out, I was one of those that were advocating, but we cannot be having young people and sending them out. For whatever reason, even when they wanted to start that TV, I heard that he stole the TV from Ucheba. I don't want to get into their business. Even when they started that TV, I initially protested against the women who thought that because Chris Anu was not giving them sufficient opportunity in ABC Amba TV, they had to start the TV of Nancho. I told them this is a wrong idea. We cannot continue doing this. I have every competence to start a TV, private TV, and to make it the best in Ambazonia. But I will not go for this. There are many people that have TVs here that will tell you that contacted me, and I tell them I'm not going to work for you. I work for Ambazonian television. Now, this same man, after they've helped him to get a TV, you use the same people that stood for you, and you're insulting them every day. I've never spoken like this. Let me just talk. You just insult them. You just insult Kemi Ashu to the extent that you go on your platform, like you say you feel like killing her. Simply because Kemi Ashu has not chosen to join you against Dr. Sako, you now want to bully her to join what you people are doing. You call yourself activist or whatever. She has never responded to you, and you keep trying to talk to her. I had never ever talked about this young man in public, but he just took upon himself to start talking about me and saying unsubstantiated things that are not factual. People, you don't even know much about them. You don't even know anything about me. You want to talk about my costuming? You send people to go to my Facebook wall to look at my costuming. Check the dresses I wore 4 years ago. You have not worn them this year. It's just unfortunate that I will have to go this low to talk to a low mind. If you don't know what to do in content, I can give you free lesson on how to create content on TV. Just stop disgracing the nation of Ambazonia, and you're attaching Ambazonia to your name, to a purported TV, and you're just insulting people. Well, sir, I think with that we've come to a close. There are calls coming in. I cannot take too much of these calls. I just thought that we should try to correct some people insulting women unnecessarily, saying things they cannot prove. If whatever you have said is logical, put them. If you have any case against any Ambazonian, put it and do the rightful thing. Use a legal means. Take anyone you want to take to court. And stop being stupid.
I mean, the role of the woman.
Maybe you want to make a concluding statement so we can close the program.
Right. Thanks, Paddy, and thanks, viewers. Today has been another exciting day, and I want to make this very clear to you. The IG, under the leadership of Dr. Sako, it's on target. We are going to Boya. There's no doubt about that. And when you see what happened recently, it proves to you that we are doing the right thing. We are absolutely doing the right thing. We are following the Constitution, and this is a copy here. We're following the Constitution. We're making sure that we incorporate safety in everything we do, operational excellence in whatever we do, and we make sure that the customer, which is you, the Ambazonian people, are the people that we have to expect. We have to make sure that you get the best of what we have, we can offer. No other organization that claims is fighting for independence is doing even a tenth of what we're doing. We don't even know their cabinet structure. We don't know the institutions. And I always have to let you know this. We are trying to create strong institutions, not strong men. I see people still sliding and still confused. We are not making Dr. Sako any stronger. We are creating strong institutions and good leadership. And when we talk of good leadership, it means that how we treat our men, how we treat our women, how we treat each other, how we treat people who are older than us, how we treat people who are younger than us. It has nothing to do with our qualifications. We just have to respect each other for what they are. We have to respect each other. And you have to refrain from telling lies. Whenever you get an idea from a source that you are not careful about, find out and get the facts. There is always truth behind any allegation. You find out. And as I told you a few weeks back, the audit commission, the audit committee is still alive. If you have evidence of anything that you believe that Dr. Sako did, send it to the audit commission committee. I remember somebody claimed that, oh, I'm going to have documents on insurance. What is that? If there's insurance fraud, there are places that you have to go to in America. You don't have to bring it to the audit. The Americans will make a better deal of it, and they'll solve it much quicker. And then the public will be there to see. Please, learn to get the facts, okay? Don't go on innuendos and all sort of hearsay and so on. And see people really frustrated. Say, oh, now we have to do this. We have to go grab this. All that anger and vitriol should not be the way we present Ambazonia to the world. We want to be a responsible people. We want to have a responsible government. want to address the issues of the people. We have to show the world that when we get our sovereignty, we will be responsible to our own people. We are responsible people, educated, not savages like La Republique, not going around killing our fellow countrymen. We are not going to do that. We are not going to kill La Republique citizens in Ambazonia. We are not going to do that. Everything must be done by law. The law has to take over to make sure that we treat everyone equally. So I'd like to close this session, and I'm very happy that you've been patient for this long. And I look forward to talking with you again next week. Thank you. Over to you, Patty.
Thank you much, SOS. Thank you very much, Ambazonians, for watching this program. If we have come to the close, please, our technicians should remove the numbers. People are still calling. I intentionally don't want to pick all the calls because we're going to have time to pick most of your calls over the weekend or sometime next week so that you can give your ideas as to what you want ASSC to be all about. So please don't call, send in your suggestions. As always, we will take them to your SOS and to the president, and they will take special note of it. Kindly make sure that we're about to close the program right now. At this time, thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of it. I want to thank once again all the donors of ABC Amba TV. I want to say thank you very much. You are the men and women on top of your game. In spite of the witch hunt from coup plotters, you have bought for us a new studio, well equipped. We will send pictures as soon as it is finished. It is the studio we're using to produce your news. You've bought for us new console, new everything. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the Ambazonians who have given lavishly, those who are subscribing on the website, on the webpage. Thank you. You're making us proud. Thank you. I'm talking to all the youths that are watching us live in the homeland and in the diaspora, that do not make yourself a spaceman for evil experimentation. Deny to be vulnerable amidst men who have lost, men who have no vision, men who have lost focus, men with evil intention, most probably sponsored by Yaoundé to take us to Yaoundé, and they will do nothing. Do not expect them to stop any day soon. They might have Ian Marian Tando as the coup plotters president. Now we have two vice presidents, all at disposal. They can make use of it. They have vice president dismissed and vice president elect in a ghetto rendezvous with defunct Restoration Council members. They can choose what to do with all of their vices. I hear a certain Wonja is requesting for Mike Fuzi. I think he might love it. He likes to. You can give Mike Fuzi a presidency. You can give Dr. Epa, who has not been renewed from CPDM mentality in the way of doing things. You want to give him your presidency, go ahead. You can give Reverend Awesome your presidency. I believe Mr. Arno would love to be your president. Give them your presidency. But you will definitely not manipulate a young man who has a great future. You will not manipulate Kamara, the young Kamara. These are people, the county chair that are serving their nation. You will not manipulate any of the county chairs. These are men and women that want to serve. You will not manipulate Tita. You will not manipulate even Wande. These are some people, they will not accept your manipulation. They may have their opinions, but their opinions are strong opinions. They are civil gentlemen and women that are willing for us to get civil discussion and to chart a way forward. I want you to know that the interim government is not made up of perfect people, but these are people that have one quality: passion. These are people that are patriotic in their limitations or weaknesses, they are willing to serve you at this time, and they will do no such thing less than service to the nation of Amazonia. The future is pregnant of plenty. The future is rich of beauty. And I'm calling on every Amazonian watching to believe we are not weakened. We're getting stronger than ever before. And like I told you, that we have been civil, watching and being civil and protecting the struggle and defending ourselves does not mean we cannot go on the offensive. If these individuals do not concentrate on the real enemy, be rest assured one of these days we will hit back offensively. On that note, it's been Tapa the King. Good night and bye-bye.
That belongs to everybody. Ambazonia has structures set up during this wartime and must be respected. Ambazonia is for all Ambazonians, and we are all princes and princesses of this great nation. All of us must be ready to liberate, defend, restore, and keep it for our future generations. Dear Ambazonia Restoration Forces of FACO, from Boya, Victoria, Tiko, Mutengene, Moya, Ekona, Moyuka, and all localities, the mountain lions of Ambazonia, Ambazonia Restoration Forces in the Federal Capital Territory, you have proved your mettle in several battles despite the wrangling fueled from the diaspora that sometimes almost derail your thinking or your sayings. From today, no activist should call you FAF or any name like they want to give you from here. You are the Ambazonia Restoration Forces of FACO, the Federal Capital Territory. We also know you as the Mountain Lions. Any other name was born out of division. Now that division is over, the brand name should be dropped. So you stop giving credence to propagandists and critics who still say, for example, FAF is an anti-government militia. Yes, the emphasis is on the former, militia, not the latter, because all ground zero forces are militias in reality. The difference is only in allegiance. Besides, the interim government will only arm people who are answerable to the IG and not individuals outside the IG.
Shadowy for so many things. Their voice, they over loud past one. So we too don't decide to talk now to me that they hear for me. The last time I come, we talk about what will happen for revolution. I be there when I see the other people then, where they talk say they want move Saku for power. We they never show you proof. Today as I talk for una so. We say as some of them they can't cry, talk say what they call their name. I don't listen what you a guy want to say they call his name for in vain. He talk his own lie then too, or talk his own thing then no proof. But he cry for inside the audio, say other people they call his name, they don't get proof. Till today, we never hear, we never see the proof they get that. He don't talk his own allegation. President, we don't talk say if a man get problem, you get complain, you know say true we talk not true. Notarize them so that if you take and go for court tomorrow, you to stand up, say, that's how I talk, that's how you day, that's how you day, Sako don't take money, it do so. Till this today, so we'll never see anything like that one. She don't wait again, say sometimes a man will bring some proof. We hear say they get their new president. Someone who will follow up to the Oriental Facebook with the year, with the sitting there, they happen. And the talks of my program zero. So, but I'm more than the follow up the thing, because say some of una need to really pay close attention to what they happen. And sometimes I be misinformed. But the good thing about what they happen, I say, I don't test the waters. And as I say, I be very proud of una. Because una don't really understand what they go on. Una don't understand. Say, persecution, they always follow a good person. So when you see the persecute man, persecute you, the find proof in the Siam, you know, say some hidden jewel, some hidden Treasure. Therefore, you say that person will be the one broken down. These people bring president with waiting the announcer. Till today, we'll never hear the announcer for their own station. We don't know what will happen. We'll discuss that one for another time. But if we get time today, we talk and small. So, would you wait for year policy speech? Would you wait for year say we don't do so, or na so we do, na so. We don't hear. We listen to Congo Sale for background. And then their first way they move on, na blackmail. They go bring me some man who never ever see a move. They can't tell me how it's a copy go for the waiting. If you do it, if you do for Tico, if you chop waiting. All that thing to again proof you know day. He tell me say some man be calling for telephone. He tell you say just that very kind. So that very government where they want create and so now government for Kungusa. They start government never hear what they do for work. They can't stand it. The first thing where they put outside na Kungusa message. For can't talk say Sako be do so, Sako be this so, Sako. That very talk the way they talk will need to see proof. They bring another man he can't talk. The worst part of it, I said this very man where he talk so. I never see me yo. I don't follow this struggle since we start. I never hear the man name. The own time where he can present himself for such struggle. Now for can destroy, for can blackmail, like walk away can for can walk. For can talk say the girl house where Sako be this, Sako be that. We know say my motivational speaker that people they talk thing them. If they talk, if they give example, say so. Use your own life as example. You know me say that until where you can't begin the man, the way he talks until I found these people they confuse people. Yeah, that's my sister. When I listen that I say the big mature man so we get the man pick his skin, big one. He go stand the talk for public so. You could never know you for something. You enter Sako be this, Sako be this. The thing is so it's sickening. The level to which they don't take their blackmail, it don't become so sickening. None of them, the interesting thing I say, none of them will be ready. For take the matter, you go for so say I write and down say so this is Sako be chop money. When they talk all these things, Sako be this, Sako be that, for me self it don't even matter. Even if you be now waiting, it don't even matter. When to go with the judge Sako for, now wait to go into for revolution. When I know this fighter, they call an outway, how will you call an out the police and police and police. When I know what will they decide what before they want the fighter. Plenty of them. I know plenty of them. Most of them are friendly. When I know what will they be the work, plenty of them. Before they want to become fighter, who they call them today, captain, dean, and so they will laugh, they glad with them. When I know work with some of the boys, they be the work. Today are generals, today are this, today are that. Some man don't go ask as anybody they be work now with you. When I know what they be do. But now we need to praise them today. We want to forget all that nonsense. We look with the Judge Sako based on the work where they work today. Maybe on the work where they work yesterday, or when people talk about it for yesterday. That one they will not fit in verify them. We not fit. So who will not get power for to verify that today? We look wait till he don't do for this revolution. How much he don't organize revolution? How much will he don't bring us a revolution? When you see people they start go back for the past, whole money past. You see the president, they don't get anything for put out. They don't try the president, it's nothing. They go the whole past now. For some people, you go back. We don't get time for go back for that past thing. They don't pass. And we know see, most of that thing is not lies. And just their continuous blackmail. Because the first time they decide that they will believe something they. So now we will even look and say, hey, wait till they happen. We'll find out, dig and. Look, say me they bring proof to today. They never bring proof. A guy when don't start talking home, you no bring proof. Then you vex people, they talk say, he no get proof. Say they talk about it when they don't get proof. When I see how these people they all can contradict themselves. You see? This very a guy one where I kept saying the person done and one man they without they move for government week or people jubilate. Then I said the man be the fair work now with it. Remember that way the dance with the key my party hey trouble. I said the man dance the dance today. We look at I said the person do it because for key to my party. Now the dance pass all you. Now wait my party die natural death. Some of you be really vexed. The ones that make the man make it go down the way they go down. You know that you know. So other people they will fear. He died natural death that she don't so I'll be glad to hear that but I'll be for life say me die and I said wow. Then you see the man when I be the captain will be careful be the best way to direct the team may go happen as you want that may happen. Now he be the dance for church, now he be the glad of I mean today now he don't stand. He want to talk strong. Now he innocent. You call my name, he will do this. But if he talks to instead of it, he talks away innocent, so he call other ways in name without proof. These people not entire. They don't get their own government. Why they don't happy now? Don't walk. They walk with the people for worker. The own people they talk say are going to be called Ground Zero. Don't like you be there for the call the Ground Zero. Now when they want to call Ground Zero, for the 10 fighter them. Say they join their group. You see these people, see the energy, see the time where they waste time for inside this thing. You see, now so unknown threat to them. The one that they be there inside, we know some still there. So go watch your back. They still there inside. Unknown threat to the wrong come out. See when you want kid and a meeting where Sako go yesterday. I read report with the circulator for meeting where they were yesterday. They no be fit believe say after all their blackmail, we Ambazonia the eyes shine, we see clear. They no be fit believe. They look how the meeting is successful. Now they all come now with that they go find some man they can't talk that they talk them. Who not just will be fool them. Who not just will be fool them. Not try harder. Not no succeed. Not the one that still fail. Not try harder. The ranks of people where they betray now, they go up, they high, they go. Meeting for yesterday, President, he talk how this very man where they call Tita. He talk with you, they talk around 2 days ago, the man is still make corny there for a corner. Now they corny honey them, that they want to tell me say they want them be the king of the Amazonia, people they betray. Now they want to tell me now say the one be that the people there they go then lead we. Betray us, we betray our home. Now, one thing we said they will be the leaders for tomorrow. Who said in day? Well, we not deny Ambazonia a vast land. Any mafia go one section for one side, you fight and we take we go. We have now boy, we all the go. You see, like Jesus said, persecution, na normal thing. And he talks so for President Sako. Persecution, na normal thing. People must persecute you, especially if you do the thing where you did for the right path. Then when some person don't hate you for whatever reason, it is struggle for blackmail you. The more you succeed, the more they vex and the more they intensify their tricks. I'm not giving care for no whether Sako be being a bad man or not being a bad man. I don't know why that one didn't come up today. I don't know who said they come out all those things. Who not here? That way this thing be start. They can't talk that thing and talk. All the people they talk today so they be know. They be here. They very talk. Maybe something where it can't happen and today we don't do go for street people they talk say this and that. They don't talk. They go always talk about great men. They go talk. And so it thing. Maybe some news where they can't tell me now we look the first year. But all that story then, now baseless story don't get no.
I can't believe I'm still running today, running away from the place I call home, stumbling on corpses as I fly into the wild. I hear the melody that you're playing. I see the blood that you spill flowing down the riverside. From Mancon to Mangfe, our men are perishing. From Kumba to Kumbo, our mothers are wailing. Is this the unity you've been talking about? Is this the oneness that you preach every day? Then I cry, how many more must die before we see to talk? How many more? Fall and die. While we stand aside, how many more must die before we see to talk? How many more? How many more must die before we see to talk? Ikongne taren kabe konga womango Ikongne taren kabe konga womango Ikongne taren kabe. Where is the love for your brother? Where is the love for humankind? Is this the unity you've been talking about? Is this the oneness that you preach?
Rap Mimp on the beat.
Baby, I'm in love, I know the look face. Mofo kong away, ko mo be na my way. Momo bar away, for noom shit in. Mo be ning away, if you want a bump for pretty mama, tell me what you want, mo be na a nay. I for bong a chin do, baby far away. But I knew away in your mommy way. Momo binga jamo bung away na yito. I say wawa, come closer. For your sake, I feel empty my bossa. No be lie, I want to be your massa. Anytime you fall, I be